podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. This is episode 1834. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Codecademy. Join the millions of people learning to code with Codecademy. See where coding can take you. Get 15% off your Codecademy Pro membership when you go to Codecademy.com and use the promo code TechGuy. And by UserWay.org. UserWay ensures your website is accessible, ADA compliant, and helps your business avoid accessibility-related lawsuits. The perfect way to showcase your brand's commitment to millions of people with disabilities. It's not only the right thing to do, it's also the law. Go to userway.org/twit for 30% off UserWay's AI-powered accessibility solution. And by SimpliSafe. To learn more about the exciting new SimpliSafe wireless outdoor security camera, visit simplisafe.com/twit. What's more, SimpliSafe is celebrating this new camera by offering 20% off your entire new system and your first month of monitoring service free when you enroll in interactive monitoring. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Good to see you. Time to talk about, technology, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches. Our car guy, Sam Abuelsamid's back. He'll come up a little later on this hour. Space with Rod Pyle, Chris Marquardt, our photographer, all coming up today. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada outside that area. You could still call, but you have to use Skype or something like that. Some software that will call a phone number, a landline, and because it's an 800 number, it shouldn't cost you anything, even outside the U.S. and Canada. 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. and Canada. Website, if you hear something on the show you like, you don't have to write it down. You want to further investigate, you don't have to write it down. You're really mad about what I said, you don't have to write it down. You don't have to yell at me either. You can just go to the website. It's free, no sign up, techguylabs.com. Everything's there. James DeRuvo's writing it down as I speak. He's our court scribe, our court gesture, court stenographer. He's all of the above. And he'll put it up there so you don't have to worry about it. It's all recorded for you. And in fact, we even put audio and video of the show after the fact, so you can see it exactly as it happened. This is episode 1834. So you just go to techguylabs.com, look for that. You can see everything that happened after the fact, a full record. There are no secrets. And this is much appreciated, believe it or not. If you have an opinion, a thought, you can approve on my answer, or you can say, you're wrong, Leo. You can all do that at the website, too. You can leave comments there, techguylabs.com. No charge, no sign up. It's free. 60 Minutes tonight. Gonna be interesting. Facebook believes a former employee who is now a whistleblower will appear on 60 Minutes tonight. 60 Minutes has been teasing it, to accuse the company of, a number of things, among them relaxing its election-related safeguards too soon after the election, contributing to the riots January 6th in Washington. The person whose identity is not yet known. I wonder if they'll do that, they hide him in the shadow and make his voice deep, or her voice deep. He or she will also testify before a Senate subcommittee this Tuesday. So at that point, I think we'll find out who it is. But already, Facebook's head of global policy, Nick Clegg, who's notorious in the UK, but that's another story entirely, has sent out a memo saying, I know some of you, especially those of you in the U.S., are going to get questions from family and friends about these things. How could you work for a company like that? Don't you see how horrible they are? That kind of thing. So I wanted to take a moment as we head into the weekend to provide what I hope is some useful context, blah, blah, blah. Basically, and you know what? I can't completely disagree with him. He wants to say it's not social media that's the problem in the U.S. and around the world. He wrote, the increase in political polarization in the U.S. predates social media by several decades. Well, several decades by centuries. We've been polarized since 1776. That's not, that by itself is not a problem. I think you might make the argument that social media has weaponized it, has increased it, exacerbated it. He said, if it were true that Facebook is the chief cause of polarization, we would expect to see it going up wherever Facebook is popular. It's not. Oh, you're not doing your job, Nick. Get on it. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not his intent. Basically, Facebook's attitude, and again, I can't completely disagree with it, is we got problems, yeah, but you can't blame us for it. And that's true. It's not entirely Facebook's fault. I guess the only debate is, does Facebook, here's the real debate, and the thing we'll see tonight on 60 Minutes. Does Facebook make people feel bad? Does Facebook, in effect, allow the organization of anti-democratic movements, of racist movements, here and all over the world? I mean, there's accusations that the junta in Myanmar, for instance, used Facebook to propagandize. Certainly Duterte in the Philippines has used Facebook. So what is Facebook's responsibility in that case? I mean, I don't think you can, they may say, well, it's a problem everywhere, but honestly, they provide a megaphone for this. By the way, for the good too. Absolutely. Facebook was where that teenage girl first posted the video of George Floyd being murdered last summer. And it was Facebook that spread the word, and it was Facebook, thanks to Facebook, that she was able to find, an audience, a voice. And of course, it went beyond Facebook after that. But Darnella Fraser, 17 years old, which nobody's, she going to go to the local newspaper? Maybe, I guess. No, she just posted on Facebook. And, the rest is history. So I think you can also say, quite reasonably, Facebook, it does both. It's a megaphone for all voices, good and bad. What is Facebook's responsibility? Well, that may be a different one, and that's certainly something to watch the show tonight, because according to the Wall Street Journal, which started this whole thing, and the whistleblower who went first to the Wall Street Journal, Facebook knew about a lot of problems. For instance, that young girls who were feeling bad about themselves would feel worse after using Instagram, things like that, and ignored it, or it didn't do anything effective about it. Or I guess the real question is, what could they do? You don't expect the phone company to censor phone calls. I think that's Facebook's point of view, is, look, we're just a platform. We're not. How can we be responsible for what's on our platform? We do our best to take misinformation and propaganda off, but it's, 3 billion users. You try to do that. It's pretty hard. I think that's really their argument. That's how they feel in their heart of hearts. And incidentally, attempts to make Facebook responsible don't necessarily work. Australia has passed a ridiculous bill saying, well, and this, let's use CNN as an example. If CNN posts, or the New York Times, or the Sydney Herald, the Australian newspapers, post on Facebook a story, they're responsible for the comments on the story, not Facebook, not the posters of the comments, but the news organizations, which has led CNN to say, we're not using Facebook in Australia anymore. That's that. We don't want to be liable, quite reasonably. In the United States, platforms are protected by a portion of the Communications Decency Act, which is called Section 230. You've probably heard the debate over Section 230. That means that Facebook in Australia, Facebook here in Australia, unfortunately, there is no Section 230. Facebook here isn't held liable for comments on a post from somebody else, nor is the company that posts it responsible. But see, in Australia, they don't have that, and I think it would be reasonable for a lot of people to say, I'm not going to be on Facebook in Australia because I don't want to get sued for something I can't control. Somebody comments on a post I made. I mean, you could take it down, of course, but the damage is done, and you could still be sued. So it's complicated, isn't it? That's really the... Who invented that? Facebook. It's complicated. That's really the answer to this. Now, they said it in regard to relationship status. Single, married, it's complicated. Remember that? It is complicated. We as a society are certainly polarized with or without Facebook. But did Facebook and other social networks like YouTube, Twitter, did they make it worse? Did they exacerbate the problem? Probably. Did they do other things that were good? For sure. So, and more to the point, how do you fix this? I will watch, and I'm sure a lot of people will, 60 Minutes. We talked about this, we've talked about it many times, but I often wonder how much normal people who use Facebook care. Really, your experience, I'm not on Facebook. I don't want to have anything to do with Facebook because I noticed, you know what? I noticed a couple of years ago when I used Facebook and I felt worse afterwards. It was like, ugh. I wish I didn't see all that. So I just stopped. It's easy to do. But for a lot of people, Facebook is how you stay in touch with your grandkids and your family and your high school friends. And, my kids in their 20s, they use Facebook to stay in touch with their college and high school friends. It's a real social network for them. And without it, they'd have to find something else that did the same thing. And so that wouldn't solve the problem. I don't think. So I think regular users might watch this and say, well, I don't know about that. I just know that I like my Facebook, and I just use it. It's very thorny. This is sometimes people say, well, we should just talk about phones and computers and how to get your printer working and stuff like that. And I agree. Politics doesn't get involved, but it does, doesn't it? Because technology now is everything. It's part of everything. It is everywhere. That's really how this show has changed over the last 30 years. I started doing this in the early 90s. We didn't have to worry about that stuff. They didn't even have a Facebook or a Twitter. All you had to worry about is if your interrupts would conflict and things. The internet, we didn't even talk about the internet yet in the early 90s. Internet, what's that? Well, that's a thing the military and the universities do. It's nothing we have to worry about. Boy, times have changed, haven't they? 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. Like I said, it's all grist for the mill. Anything you want to talk about, technology is pervasive in our society for good and bad, and that's what this show is all about. And it's mostly bad if you're trying to get your printer to work. I think that's the case. It's Heather Hammond, the Phone Ranger, back once again. I didn't scare her off yesterday. Filling in for Kim Schaffer's got the weekend off. Hello, Phone Ranger.
Hey, well, you did scare me off, but, I'm a responsible human being.
Great to see you. You look fabulous.
Okay.
Obviously rested, relaxed, ready to answer the phones.
I did go see a band last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you? You're rock and roller.
Well, I love these early shows. It had to end at 8 because they're all outdoors now.
Yeah. A lot of cities have noise ordinances.
Right.
It's the silliest thing.
Well, yes and no.
I mean, it's nice to start early, I guess.
It is nice to start early.
It's a sunset concert.
Exactly. Yeah. You're there during the afternoon, and then it goes to night, and you go home and you watch the rest of Many Saints of Newark.
Oh, wasn't that good?
Yeah.
Wasn't that good? Are you a Sopranos fan?
I binged it during the pandemic. I had never watched it before, and I was
timing.
So ugh.
So this is a prequel movie that David Chase made, and it's really fun if you are a Sopranos fan because there's all these callbacks.
Oh yeah.
You don't. I guess they say it's a standalone. You don't have to know, but I sure made it more fun to see Silvio as a Ute, Paulie Walnuts,
exactly.
Tony
Hilarious.
Soprano as a little kid.
Uncle June.
Uncle June.
I mean, the stair steps. It was crazy.
Well, and they even solved a mystery that lasted all 8 seasons of The Sopranos. So more than that, maybe.
Would that be a spoiler if you told me?
Yes, I'll tell you. You already saw the movie, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't tell you on the air, but I'll tell you.
Because I need reminding.
Yeah. It's a big deal. It's like, who did this? Oh, well, now we know. So who should I talk to?
I know what you're talking about.
That's the real question. Who should I talk to?
Paul in Roseburg. He's got a clever little idea.
Paulie Walnuts in Roseburg, Oregon. Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Welcome to the show. What can I do for you?
Sorry to hear that. But anyway, I got an iPhone iPhone. It's the S1, I think it's called. What do you call that? It's the one after i6.
The 6. So the iPhone 6 was followed by the iPhone 6S.
S, and then what was after that?
There's an SE.
I think it might be that one.
Yeah. Is it a little one? Little baby puppy. Yeah, Apple just realized that people didn't want to spend $1,000 for a new phone, so they created the iPhone SE, which is actually a really popular iPhone. It's less expensive.
That's actually the one I got, the SE.
SE, yeah. And you probably got the most recent SE, which is quite good. I mean, you're getting a lot of the benefits of the newer iPhone technology without, with spending less than half as much. So it's got the A13. We geeks like to talk about the chips and size. It's got the A13, which is not last year's, but the year before. That's pretty good. That's pretty fast. Yeah. So what can I do to help you with your SE?
Okay, so that's all I have is the phone. I have a couple of old Apple iMacs, but you can't. I guess you can't update them now. Is that the idea?
Yeah, after a while, Apple stops letting you update them, and so you're stuck with the last version. Usually, it depends on the age of the thing, but it's Mojave or Snow Leopard.
Other things.
Oh yeah, it works fine. What will happen eventually is the browsers won't get updated, and then it's maybe a little dangerous to use. But you're probably all right. I wouldn't worry about that.
I just use it as a stereo.
Perfect.
Anyway, the reason I called and talked to your phone lady is that I wanted to know, is there any kind of a printer that I could get? I have my iPhone, and I have the cellular through my carrier.
Yeah. So you don't have Wi-Fi, in other words, right?
No, I don't have Wi-Fi.
Because the way Apple wants you to print with an iPhone is something called AirPrint, which and many, probably most modern printers support this, but you need to have Wi-Fi. Your phone and your printer have to be on the same network to print. If you think about it, the only way your phone can print is if it's either directly connected to a printer or it's connected through the internet, not the internet, the local network to the printer.
What about a Bluetooth thing with an app?
No, won't do it.
That won't work.
No. If you don't have Wi-Fi...
Basically, you're telling me, no, I can't do it.
I hate to say... I never want to say no. But the key is... Yeah. Let me see. How to AirPrint to a printer without being connected to a network.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the problem is at least the printer has to be connected to a network. So the printer's just sitting out there in space. And you can't use Bluetooth to print.
Have to keep feeding it ink and not be able to use it.
Yeah, well, that would be crazy. You must have had Wi-Fi at some point, right? How did you?
Oh yeah, I've had Wi-Fi.
But you just don't have it now.
I didn't get it here because I just watch I don't watch conventional TV. I watch YouTube.
Oh, wait a minute now. I think I've found a solution. Hang on, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. iPhones. If you need to print something, apparently you can print via Bluetooth. I didn't even know this. Apparently you can print via Bluetooth.
Yeah, see, my brother told me you could. He said you have to get a printer that has Bluetooth.
Yes.
And there's an app you have to get.
Yeah, because if the printer doesn't have Bluetooth, obviously that's not going to work either. But apparently, I didn't realize this. There are Bluetooth printers. So but that's probably not what you've got. So let me just check some Bluetooth printers.
I don't have a printer yet.
Oh, you don't have a printer? Oh, well, that makes it easier.
I want to know, is there a to get?
Yeah, so the Bluetooth printers are typically called mobile printers. But there are a number of printers that will print via Bluetooth, believe it or not. If you go down to your Office Depot or your Best Buy or whatever, it'll say on the box Bluetooth.
What about Amazon?
Maybe Amazon. Yeah, you can search via Amazon to find what you need. Let me see.
Okay.
While some of the new printer models with Bluetooth, almost any printer can be turned into a wireless printer by using a Bluetooth printer adapter. So that's the other solution, is you could turn on a Bluetooth printer adapter. If you search Amazon for Bluetooth printer, you should be able to find There's a receipt printer. You don't want a receipt printer. Yeah, a lot of these are for like printing receipts.
I just want it so I can print out like recipes and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Looks like HP makes a number of Bluetooth printers. It looks like. Let me just make sure. Check the spec. This is all new to me. I didn't realize you could do this. I had no idea.
So I was surprised.
You have surprised me, and I'm glad you asked because now I will know. I'm gonna have to try this to see. But there are Bluetooth printers, and apparently you can connect the iPhone. I don't know if you need special software or not. It doesn't look like you necessarily do. That you can connect. How to print via Bluetooth from an iPhone to a printer. The phone also includes a Bluetooth. Make your Bluetooth printer discoverable. Okay. Type settings in the iPhone, tap Bluetooth. Yeah, you just pair, just like you don't even need an app. You just pair it like you would normally pair Bluetooth headphones. And then you can print via Bluetooth.
Go into Bluetooth. See, my Bluetooth is on.
Yeah, but you don't have a printer yet. So here's the key. All you got to do is get a Bluetooth printer and tell that printer, pair. I want to pair now. And then you'll go into your iPhone's Bluetooth settings, and you should see that printer. And you should say pair. And there may be some rigmarole saying, well, do you see this number on the screen? And you say yes. And once they're paired, that printer should show up as a printer for your iPhone.
What if it says it wants peaches?
Peaches? To go with the Bluetooth?
Yeah. Peaches to go with the pair.
Oh, to go with the pair. Yes, I think you'll be all right fruit-wise. You should. All you need is the pair, and then you got the Bluetooth. Yeah, believe it or not, this is a surprise to me. Let me see if anybody in the chat room has printed via Bluetooth. Apparently, you can't. All right. Nobody's saying anything, but I think that you can. That's news to me. I will try this. I will find a Bluetooth printer, and I will try this just to verify it. But
how do you get a hold of me and tell me that?
Listen on the radio. I don't know if we have any Bluetooth printers.
I listen to you all the time.
Well, good. I will first I have to find a Bluetooth printer. I might have to go to Office Depot just to find a Bluetooth printer. But I will let you know. I've never seen a printer show up on Bluetooth, but that's interesting. Yeah, I guess Apple did bid that in. It's time to call car guy Sam Abuelsamid to the witness stand. Principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights. He podcasts a little show called Wheel Bearings. If you love cars, you'll love Wheel Bearings at wheelbearings.media. Sam is a race car driver. I didn't know that.
I have driven race cars. I wouldn't call myself a race car driver.
But you took your Miata to the races.
I did. Last Sunday, when I wasn't here, I was at a Detroit Region SCCA Autocross event in Livonia, Michigan. SCCA is the Sports Car Club of America. And one of for those that are interested in exploring the limits of their cars, maybe getting involved at the very entry level of motorsports without spending a whole lot of money or necessarily having a whole lot of skill, there's an event called Autocross. SCCA organizes them all over the country. Various other organizations do as well. And it's a great way to go out and play with your car in a relatively safe environment where you're not going to be putting others at risk or doing anything that's going to get yourself thrown in jail. And basically what they do is they set up a course, fairly tight course, and typically in a large parking lot or other facility. The facility that they used for this particular event was the Schoolcraft College Public Safety Training Center, which is basically a police academy. So normally in this lot, they train police officers. And so they used it for this program. And you go and you run against the clock. So you're not racing against anybody else. You run one at a time against the clock. And you have typically the time, a good time through the course, is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of, depending on the length of the course, 40 to 60 seconds. So, less than a minute. The best times we saw last week were from a couple of purpose-built vehicles that were not street legal. They were running about 37-second laps, which is really quite fast. My best time with my Miata was about 46.6 seconds, which I was quite pleased with that time. And it's all set up with cones, and you have some different kinds of corners, some slaloms, various other things, and essentially you can bring pretty much anything. Last week there were cars there ranging from an old Ford Focus up to more performance-oriented cars like my Miata. My daughter had her Toyota 86. There was a brand new Corvette there. Somebody had a brand new Mustang Mach 1 and another one, a GT500. But there were Minis and Honda Civics. You name it. You can bring anything you want. If you're an SCCA member, it's $35 to enter, and you get anywhere from 5 to 8 runs, typically, depending on how quickly things are moving along. And they break it up into heats, so they split everybody up into groups. And are you
racing against other people, or are they time trials?
It's time trials.
Yeah, so because you don't want to be on the track with somebody else, because that's a little dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, each type of vehicle is in a particular class. So my Miata was in what they call E Street because it's unmodified, and so you're running against the other cars in the same class, but you're not running at the same time. So you're running against the clock and just trying to get your best time in there. And it's a great way to have fun when you're not running, you're expected to volunteer at some position, either waiting, when somebody runs over a cone, after they run over a cone, go put the cones back up, or doing safety checks, or I was doing photography. So I took a whole lot of photos and posted those up online.
Not while you were driving, I hope.
No,
okay,
not
good.
You're doing when you're not in a heat that's running, then you're volunteering.
Oh, nice.
So it's
fun.
It's a great way to have fun. And if you're not an SCCA member, it's $50.
Now, this was not at a racetrack, it looks like. It looks like you're in a parking lot or something.
Yeah. It basically is in a parking lot.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. Great way to go out and play with your car. Pretty much anything you want to run, you can run it in there. They'll find a class to stick you in, and you can test your skills as a driver, see what your car can do. Maximum speeds are only about 45, 50 miles an hour at most, because it's a fairly tight course. So you don't have
these long straightaways that you can build up speed on. Okay.
Yeah, you're not going very fast, but you can you can practice your driving skills, your car handling skills, and it's a great time.
Wow, looks like fun. Not going to do it myself.
Next Friday morning, I'll be doing another autocross when I'm out in your neck of the woods, driving the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT.
Ooh, now I'm jealous. That's their performance version of their electric Mach-E.
Yeah, so Thursday afternoon we'll be out driving it on the road, and then Friday morning taking it to an autocross.
Nice. How fun. Yeah. How fun. So it's
so
really,
is it a test? The stream,
yeah.
If you're watching the video stream, you can see one of my runs in the Miata. The only thing you have to wear a helmet, a proper approved helmet, but other than that, everything else is pretty much open.
Huh. Is it really? Looks like it's more like a test of your ability to steer. To drive, really, not how fast
steering,
your car can
braking,
go.
accelerating.
Yeah,
you have to accelerate at the right times, brake at the right times, steering. Trying to find the right line, because if you hit the cones, if you knock down cones, you do get penalized. So 2 seconds for every cone that you knock down. So you want to make sure you don't hit the cones, but you want to be as close to them as you can at the right times to get the best time.
Nice.
Yeah,
we have the Skip Barber Driving Racing School out here on our Laguna Seca Raceway in Monterey. And I think there's even one up here in Northern California where people can learn kind of how to do this kind of driving. Because you get me out there, I would be driving the speed limit. Let me put it that way. Putting my hand out the window to signal a turn. Yeah. Well, I guess you build up speed and time. Yeah. Wonder if Infineon, our local raceway, has
They probably do. You can Google Autocross near me, and you will find at least your regional SCCA, and probably some other organizations that are also organizing autocross events. And you can also go to Haggerty. I think Haggerty actually runs a site called Motorsports Registration, where you can find all the motorsportreg.com.
Nice.
And I'll drop that in the chat room, the link to that. And that's where you can find events nearby you and register for them.
How fun. As you know, my wife is getting a Mini Cooper, electric Mini Cooper. It's been a little delayed, I guess, thanks to the chip shortage. But they have a Mini Cooper. The Golden Gate chapter of the BMW Car Club has a Mini Cooper school at Infineon. I think maybe I'll get that for a birthday present or something.
I'm sure she'd love that. She'd have a lot of fun.
And for our teenager,
driving that on the track.
Yeah, we want to send him to there's a driving safety school there where you learn those kind of skills, which are very, it's good to practice because you don't get much chance to practice them in the real world.
Most racing schools offer programs for teen drivers to learn car control, learn skid recovery and things like that.
Yeah.
The types of things that you will encounter in the real world, and driver's ed never teaches you.
Yeah.
Well,
they don't really want to put you into a skid in driver's training. And by the way, I don't know what it's like in Michigan. I'm sure it's not the same, but here in California, we don't have driver's training anymore, which is so strange.
Yeah. No.
We just send them out
even if you go to a private driver's ed program, they usually don't teach you that stuff.
Sam Abuelsamid, Principal Researcher, Guidehouse Insights. Listen to Wheel Bearings. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah. There were actually a couple of EVs running last week. There was a whole group of people from the Nissan R&D Center here in Farmington Hills that came out with a bunch of different vehicles, including a Nissan Leaf.
Oh, nice.
And a couple of a Maxima and a Sentra and a couple of Altimas. And there was also somebody with a Tesla Model Y that was running as well.
So electrics there must be a separate class though, right?
Yeah, different classes for every type of vehicle. There's some group. There's some classes where you have multiple types of vehicles with similar levels of performance in there. So they try to group vehicles that have similar performance in each class.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And I don't remember what class the Model Y was in, but yeah, it's in a particular class based on its performance level.
So they're not all electric, but they probably all are high torque. And engines.
My Miata is not particularly high torque.
Right.
But,
right. You've just gone gray. Have you done something to your camera? You've gone gray.
I sorry, I accidentally closed the OBS window there.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
The key to autocross is momentum, maintaining your momentum. So getting the right line through the corners, so you're not scrubbing off speed, because there's a lot of corners, and so if you're getting it the wrong line, you will be losing speed. Like if you're going too wide or and you're turning too tight or braking too late, you'll lose speed that way. So the key is to get the right speed, the right balance of speed, and the right line through the corners, especially when you've got a car like a Miata. That's why I was able to run a 46.6 versus somebody in a GT500 that was running 53 seconds. Because I was able to maintain what momentum I had.
Yeah.
So did you see the email I sent the other day with the agenda?
Yes, I did. I can't come down, unfortunately. That sounds like fun. Sounds like a lot of fun. I'm jealous.
What about Anthony?
No, we don't have anywhere to put it because we don't do hot anymore.
Okay.
I think it's fun.
All right.
Thank you for offering. I appreciate it.
All right, no problem.
Very nice of you. Yeah. Did you send it to Anthony too? I certainly would.
I did. Yeah, I copied him.
Yeah.
On
So if I haven't talked to Anthony, if he wants to, I'll ask him at editorial this weekend. See if he wants to go down and do that. I don't know where we would put it. I guess we could put it in Tech Break. That's what we're doing with with the things. Okay. You got a minute. You want to stay to the top of the hour?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I'll stick around.
Good.
So, yep, as Stay Away Grimace says, it's smooth is fast. That's what you want. Is you want smoothness. You don't want to be jerking the car around. You want to try and try and keep as much speed through the corners as you can. You don't want to scrub off speed. So the smoothness is the key to fast times in autocross. Small cars with small engines can do really, really well. Big cars with big engines, not so much. Let's see. As far as my place in class for Key 43, I'm actually not sure. They haven't posted the final results yet. I'm not too concerned about that. It was my first time doing it competitively, and so I wasn't paying too much attention to where I was in class. I know other Miatas were getting in the mid 40s as well, so I think I was fairly competitive for the first time out, and I got progressively better with each run. So that's the key. Is you want as you learn the course, you want to get faster and faster.
We'll talk in a few minutes.
All right.
Let me talk about our sponsor. How about that? Our podcast sponsor. This is a brand new one. I'm very happy to welcome Codecademy to the Tech Guy Show. I have been a Codecademy fan for years. I know a lot of people listening want to learn how to code, for instance, whether it's for your career or just for fun. If you're a kid, you want to learn how to code, I really support this. There's never been a better time to become a programmer. And with Codecademy, you can learn to code and you can do it on your own terms at your own time. Whether you're starting from scratch or you're looking to advance, Codecademy can help you reach your coding goals. Simply put, Codecademy is the best way to learn to code online. I love it because it's not boring lectures. You actually are coding. You're coding from day one. You're writing your first bit of code right there, and you don't need to download any special software. You do it in the browser. I'm writing Python or C or Swift. Actually, I've been taking the Swift class, and you're writing it from the very moment, and it checks it and says, no, you didn't do that right. And so you're getting coding skills. They not only teach you job-ready skills for coding, but they also help you build unique projects. So you've got a portfolio of them. It's a great way to earn certificates, even prep for technical interviews. It's so much fun. You might even just do it as a hobby. Kind of that's how I do it. I don't need to learn how to code, but I love to code, and it's so fun to do it at Codecademy. Get qualified for in-demand jobs in as little as 2 months. You can learn at your own pace and at your own level. You choose what to learn. They've got, programs for full-stack developers, for Python 3, for Swift. They just added Swift. I love that. That's the Apple coding language. You can learn how to build websites, how to analyze data. And if you're a beginner, you can start coding right away. And if you're old hand, as I am, you can dig in at at an advanced level. They've got a beginner, intermediate, and advanced classes. Python, HTML, CSS, SQL, JavaScript, and more. And when you go to Codecademy, they if you're not sure, they have a little quiz. And it's so much fun. I should actually show you this quiz. It's so much fun because it's not about coding at all. It's about how you think, how you deal with problems. It's to understand your psychology, and then they recommend a track for you based on how your mind works. It's so cool. Lisa did it. They said, you're good with stats, aren't you? She is. They said, you should learn R. Wow. I thought, wow, I'm impressed. It thought I should take computer science classes. But you get to, they have those too, yes. Your code is tested the minute you press submit, so you always know if you're on the right track. And, of course, they have great cheat sheets. I really love the cheat sheets. In fact, even if you're not a Codecademy customer, you may want to download the cheat sheets. And then there's tailor-made quizzes just for you so you can test your knowledge. There's forums. You can get help from other learners in the forums, connect with people near you. There's a local Codecademy chapter in most parts of the country. In fact, most parts of the world, there's over 50 million people who are Codecademy community members. Build your portfolio. Get a certificate of completion to make yourself more marketable to future employers. I should be saying Codecademy because I always say Academy, but it's Codecademy, Codecademy. Join the millions of people learning to code with Codecademy. See where coding can take you. We're going to give you 15% off your Codecademy Pro membership. All you have to do is go to codecademy.com, promo code TechGuy, CODECADEMY.com, promo code TechGuy, 15% off. What a great way to learn. Codecademy. Codecademy.com, promo code TechGuy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Did a little research, thanks to the chat room, too, offering some suggestions. How to print with your iPhone SE. That was our first caller of the day. How to print with your iPhone SE without having a Wi-Fi network. Bluetooth will work, but it turns out that a lot of printers, not all, but a lot of printers will support printing directly to the printer. You don't have to have a Wi-Fi network. You don't have to have a network in the house at all. The printer can actually become what's called an ad hoc network. It can create its own wireless access point, which you can then join with the phone and print directly that way. So the printer becomes a hotspot, in effect. Doesn't need to be connected to the public internet in any way. So really, that's the problem is, and for years with a printer, you'd have to connect a cable to print. But eventually, wireless printers came along, and of course, they use, in most cases, the wireless network in your office or your home. But it turns out now, because there are other ways to do this, you don't have to have a wireless network in your house. So I'm going to put in the show notes, somebody in the chat room found an article at imore.com, AirPrint Printer Without Being Connected Network, How to Do It. The Art of Networking Without Networking. And so this is a good step-by-step on how to do this. The one thing I would suggest, since you haven't gone out and bought a printer yet, is to make sure you get a printer that can do this. It's not all of them. So you want an AirPrint capable printer for sure. That's the Apple wireless printing technology. But you also want an AirPrint printer that supports Wi-Fi Direct. That's what you're looking for. Wi-Fi Direct means you can create a hotspot for your phone to connect to. You'll see it, you join it. You'll lose your internet connection at that point. That's fine because you're just printing at that point. One printer that iMore mentions it'll do it, HP's LaserJet Pro 200, but that's just one. So you want to look for a printer that supports this Wi-Fi Direct printing, and I imagine that's a goodly number. We'll put the whole article up in the show notes because he's got screen captures and step by step. Makes it a lot easier to figure out how to do this. Back to the phones we go. 8888 Ask Leo. Ted is on the line. Crystal River, Florida. Hello, Ted.
Whoops.
Whoops. What do you mean, whoops?
I heard a ding and I thought I lost you.
No, I'm here, baby. That ding means you're on. Right. Ted and Crystal River, come on down. What can I do for you?
Leo, I'm really concerned over the telemarketing with these robot calls that seem to know everything about me when I answer the call.
Oh, that's interesting. What are they so instead, not only are they, look, this has been a problem. We talked about it last time. Robocalling is a nightmare, but are they saying, hi, Ted? They're saying they know about you?
Yeah, I had a call yesterday that claimed he was from the internet, the Medicare office.
Yeah.
And he told me he had my name, my address. He knew my phone number. Of course, he knew the phone number. And he even said that he was quoting me my old Medicare number. whether or not I had gotten my new Medicare card.
Oh, that is so frustrating. Because you know what this criminal is doing, and this is criminal, is preying on older folks who perhaps aren't as sophisticated as you. Because they have all that information, they're going to go, oh, yeah, you must be Medicare. So everybody listening, these calls are not going to come in. They're not going to call you. And if they do, you say, that's great. Give me a case number. Give me your name. I'll call you back. And then you don't get a number. You don't get a number from them. You look and, look it up in the phone book or call 411 or you look on the internet and you get a real Medicare number. and you call them. And if they answer at that number, well, then they are Medicare. The problem is if you ask them for a number, they'll give you a bogus number. These are call centers usually not in the U.S. because this is highly illegal. And
that's my question. Yeah, they're not in the U.S. They're India.
Yeah.
Or Pakistan.
Very often what happens, this is kind of shameful, but very often what happens is there are companies who do legit tech support during the day, and at night they flip the office and they start doing stuff like this.
Right. It's nighttime in India when I'm getting these calls.
Yeah. Because it's a little extra income on the side. And
I think they're buying some kind of an introductory robot call. They first want to know, for example, the home solar panels. They want to know if I'm a single family.
Isn't this awful?
Homeowner,
yeah.
Paying more than $100. Okay, stand by, and I'll have my supervisor talk to you. Well, then here comes the Indian accent. I know I worked in India for quite a while, and I speak a little bit of Hindi. And
that's probably useful. You could probably say something to them in Hindi that would get them to hang up right away.
No, they want to start talking in Hindi.
Oh, they do. That's funny. Well, obviously, a lot of these call centers are legit. I mean, a lot of companies, to save money, outsource their call centers to India, to Brazil, to Pakistan, all over the place. That doesn't by itself mean that they're criminals, but it is the case that this is not Medicare, obviously. In fact, Medicare says if somebody calls you and asks for your Medicare number, hang up. They say if someone calls you and asks for your Medicare number or other personal information, hang up and call us at 1-800-MEDICARE. This is so common. Now, your question, though, I understand, is how did they get this information?
Yes, sir.
Did he have your Medicare number?
I don't know. I'm sitting here at the desk. I don't have my card.
Yeah.
I'm legally blind.
I would guess that number is fairly protected. Things like your Medicare number, your Social Security number. But there's a lot of stuff that's public records. You can find somebody's home address. You could probably even find their date of birth. Some of this is from breaches. There have been a lot of breaches. They happen almost weekly. Big companies that don't protect your data as well as they should. Yahoo had several billion records leaked. The Starwood Group, Marriott Hotels had millions of records, hundreds of millions of records leaked. It's not at all unusual, and those records will have that kind of identifying information. Obviously, it's not Medicare. I'm glad you knew better and didn't fall for it. It makes me really mad that they're preying on seniors because they figure, these are going to be easier targets. They're not as technically sophisticated. Younger people don't expect a call from the IRS or Medicare. They're probably you never even thought that the phone worked. But we older folks, that's how we've did business for years. So they're preying on us, and I think it's shameful. It's really shameful.
The other question I have is that the Federal Trade Commission has set up the Do Not Call list.
They're not going to pay any attention to that. Of course,
because they're out of the country.
Because it's inherently illegal, so they don't care if they're violating that particular law. But I always do put all my numbers on that Do Not Call registry. That keeps U.S. companies from pestering you.
Okay.
But there's not a whole lot you can do. One of the things the FCC is doing, they've created a new authentication technology, stir and shaken, they call it. And they require the big phone companies to adhere to this. So that helps because what's happening with a lot of these guys, they're spoofing phone numbers. Those aren't real phone numbers. In fact, it might even look like it's coming from Washington, D.C. or your area code. That's just part of the spoof. Yeah, your area code. Yeah, that is highly illegal, by the way. But they're outside the country, so what are we going to do? The FCC is hoping that by enforcing this authentication technology, they'll eliminate the problem. But there's this gaping loophole, which is the big phone companies, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, they all adhere to it. But the little phone companies, because of their size, they've been given an out. And, of course, guess who the spammers use? They use these voice over the internet companies that are not required to do this authentication. Now, ideally, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, your carrier would reject unauthenticated calls. That would solve this. Unfortunately, they don't want to do that because they don't want to reject a call you may want. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. I am sorry that this happened to you. I'm so glad that you were smart. You were savvy enough to know this is bogus. Folks, if the IRS calls you, if Medicare calls you, these are all scammers. They're all scammers. And you can't say, oh, they have an Indian accent, I know they're scammers. It's not the case. They might not have an accent at all. They're all scammers. Do not give any personal information out on the phone to anybody who calls you. And if they ask you for a credit card, whoa, that is, you stop right. You know that. Yeah, Ted, the question how they got the information, it's out there, unfortunately. Some of this is public record. You know, real estate records are public, things like that. Ted,
I do. Well,
I have to take a break, but I do thank you for calling. It's something everybody should know. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I will get the ad next break. I didn't want to stop Ted because this is important stuff. Ted, you can go ahead now. I just had to take that break.
Okay. One thing I do is when I have time, I'll play along with them and waste their time. Oh, they get so
they get angry and hang up on you, and yeah.
Oh, you've been kicked from this conversation.
I mean, I guess it's a minor satisfaction to do that. I wish that we could find a way to make this work. It's made. I don't answer the phone anymore in many cases because it's just you can't trust the number. You can't trust who it is.
Yeah, I have a corporate phone, a landline phone. I'm calling you from a cell phone right now, but I also have a landline, and I just let it ring.
Yeah, let it ring. They'll leave a message if it's your doctor or somebody important. They'll leave a message. Right. That's basically the only way I do phone calls these days. Leave a message, and I'll talk to you if you leave a message. But I'm not going to talk to you on the phone. Yeah.
My policy is I don't do anything. I don't respond to anything on the phone.
And you're smart.
They call me in, I play with them. I play with them if I have the time.
You're smart, and I'm so glad you called because I hope a lot of people listening went, oh, boy, that's good to remember. Because the problem is that's why they prey on older people because a lot of us don't have the defenses, you know, and it's shameful. It's just shameful. Sometimes I'll say, do your mother know what you do for a living? They hang up on that one, too. I love it that you know Hindi. That's hysterical.
Well, it comes in handy sometimes. I don't know a lot. I just know some.
Did you live there in the service, or?
No, I worked as a private consultant work. I worked in, let's say I was in 2 years on the East Coast in Bhubaneswar. Wow. And then for a year, Mumbai.
Wow. So you were a secret agent?
Yes.
Ted, it's a pleasure. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Take care.
Enjoy your show, Leo.
All right. Thank you. Bye. All right, Sam. Secret Agent Ted signing out.
Couple things that were in the chat. Let's see. PC Guy asked about using the parking brake to swing the back end around in an autocross. Bad idea. Very hard to control that, and it's also going to slow you down to scrub off a lot of speed. So definitely don't want to do it that way. You want to keep it as smooth as you can. Let's see. iTech. No, my daughter and I did not swap cars. Although I have driven the 86 before. I haven't driven hers, but I've driven the 86s before. She didn't want to drive mine. Hers is an automatic transmission. Mine's a manual. Let's see. Tech Dino had a comment about investment in EV production here in the U.S. And yeah, that's actually something that's growing very rapidly. Just this past week, we had a couple of announcements. Ford made a big announcement of $11.4 billion investment to build 4 plants between now and 2025. 3 of those 4 plants are part of their joint venture that they have with SK Innovation for batteries. And so they're building 3 battery plants by 2025. Two of those are going to be in Kentucky, about 50 miles south of Louisville, where Ford has a couple of big assembly plants where they build the Super Duty pickups, their full-size SUVs, and the Ford Escape, and the Lincoln Corsair. And then it's also relatively centrally located within a few hours' drive of their Kansas City, Missouri plant and plants in Michigan. And then in Tennessee, near Memphis, they are building another battery plant down there and a new electric truck plant, which is going to be their first all-new greenfield assembly plant since 1969. So that's a big investment for Ford. We're also going to be seeing big investments from GM. This week they're doing their investor day on Wednesday, and I think on tomorrow or Tuesday they'll be making a big EV related announcement. So we'll be hearing a lot more from GM. Stellantis, the parent company of Jeep and Ram and Dodge and Chrysler, should also be making some announcements soon. Toyota, Ford, and Honda will likely be making some EV announcements in the not too distant future. Toyota is launching their first new EV next year. Honda is going to be bringing out some EVs in the coming years. So we're going to see a lot more announcements of both assembly plants being converted over, existing assembly plants being converted over. GM's already announced 4 assembly plants that are going to start producing EVs. The first of which is their Detroit Hamtramck assembly plant here in Detroit. Which is actually later this month, should start building the Hummer EV, and then in Spring Hill, Tennessee, they're going to be building the Cadillac Lyriq. They're building their Bright Drop EV600 electric cargo van in Ontario, in Ingersoll, Ontario, and of course the Chevy Bolt is built in Orion, Michigan, north of Detroit. Knox Harrington, yes, Toyota does have a major assembly plant, an engine plant in Georgetown, Kentucky, near Lexington. So they may eventually start producing EVs here. I suspect they will at some point in the next few years. In fact, most of the major automakers have plants in the U.S. or in North America. Volkswagen has actually been doing some major investment at their plant in Chattanooga, and they just recently started pilot production of the ID4 electric crossover down there, and they're going to start full volume production of that early next year for the North American market. Pappy Cappy asks, I have a question. I wonder if you know the answer to. I have a 2017 Lexus RX 350, and I'm pretty sure the 3G is going to be shut off soon. Do you think they will offer new radios, or should I be looking at remote starters? So that's a good question. Some automakers are actually preparing upgrade programs to replace the cellular modems in their vehicles. I'm trying to think. I don't think Toyota has announced anything yet. I don't think any of the 3G networks. I think you probably aren't going to be. They're not going to be shut down until towards the end of next year. But yeah, we will be seeing 3G networks shutting down, and we you'll probably get a notification if you're subscribing to connectivity service, telematics service from your manufacturer. If they're going to offer some sort of upgrade program to 4G, then you'll probably get a notification from them, or you could give them a call, call the customer service line, or call your local dealer and ask if they're doing anything. I think in most cases, you probably are going to be stuck with what you've got, and so you will probably lose your connectivity once 3G gets turned off. But some will definitely upgrade them. Rintaro, do I believe the change to EVs is basically upon us? It's starting. And that's going to grow rapidly over the next 7 years.
Thank you, Sam. Have a great one.
You too, Leo.
All right, take care. Thanks. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers and the internet and home theater, digital photography. We got your smartphones. We got your smart watches, all that jazz. 88 Ask Leo is the phone number. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still reach me, but you'll have to use Skype out or something like that to call. 8888 Ask Leo. Website techguylabs.com. That's where all the show notes are. Free, no sign up. It's just there for your use. In case you hear something you want to remember it, you don't have to. We'll do it for you. Nuss is on the line from Delray Beach, Florida. Hello, Nuss.
Hello there. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Well, thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
And,
am I saying your name right? Nuss?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I think Kim must have relayed my question. It's about the iPad Mini used as a phone. I have always been an Android guy, but I can't find a phone that's big enough, to be honest with you.
You want an 8-inch phone, and you don't mind the size of the iPad Mini.
Well, 7 inches would have been the ideal.
For
a long time,
Google made a great 7-inch. Yeah, and they've stopped.
Used to the I've been used to the Huawei Mate 20X,
right?
Which was 7.3. But then you know what happened to Huawei,
right?
Over here in the U.S. And Google doesn't seem to want to make a good phone, to be honest with you.
We'll see. I mean, they've got the Pixel 6 coming out in the next few weeks. We'll see. I'll buy it. I'll let you know. But I actually had the same thought. I didn't want to buy the new iPhone 13. It didn't seem like enough of an upgrade. So I bought the new iPad Mini, which I love. There's a lot of things to be said for it. Unlike its previous versions, there's no home button. So the fingerprint reader is on the on-off switch. That saves space, which means you can have a bigger screen in the same size container. And I like that. And I think it's actually a very appealing device. And I was curious, can you use it as a phone? So if you wanted to use it as a phone, a couple of things you'd want to do. You'd certainly want to get the version that had LTE built into it.
Right.
So, yeah, you could carry it around. Now, that gives you technically a phone number, but it doesn't give you a phone number that you can ring. It's data only. So now it's a data device that works out and about using LTE, but can you do phone calls on it? And I investigated a lot of different ways, and the way that seems the best, it's not free, but it's only about $4 or $5 a month, is a company called Talkatone. They give you a phone number. I tried it. The phone rings. I mean, the iPad Mini rings just like a regular phone. You can call landlines just like a regular phone. It's a VoIP service. It uses the internet, the LTE, in effect, off of your iPad Mini to make phone calls. The quality is excellent. It has voicemail. It has transcription. You get texting. You don't have roaming fees because you're just using data, so you'll pay the data fees. So that is one catch. You're still going to have a deal with a phone company for the LTE chip. Now, one way to go, maybe there's a variety of ways you could do this. I'm using T-Mobile because I already have an account with them. You could use Google Fi, which is Google's service, which uses T-Mobile, the old Sprint towers, U.S. cellular towers, and Wi-Fi, and it will use whatever works the best. The nice thing about Google Fi is if you travel internationally, it's the same price, $10 a gigabyte. Yeah. So they limit it at $60 a month. So I think Google Fi or T-Mobile, good choice internationally. But you can investigate. You do need to have a cellular data plan, not a voice plan, a data plan. That's one thing I like about Google Fi is they offer data-only SIMs. You won't really need a SIM because they have eSIMs.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the Android phone or.
Well, it's an iPad. No, they don't care. It works.
Oh.
Yeah. Google Fi works with iPads. I have it in one of my other iPads. It works just fine. And so you'll have the Google calling plan, which is actually a pretty good international calling plan. It's the same price, basically.
Right.
No matter where you are. So I think
I listened to a review, or I watched a video review. Most reviews ignore completely the cellular option.
Yeah.
And only a couple mentioned it, and one actually turned me off the idea altogether. They started listing all sorts of disadvantages to using it as a phone.
Noose, it's funny that you mentioned it because I thought I'm going to use this instead of a phone. And so I did the research. I got the LTE version. I'm actually loving the Mini. It's a great little device. You're right. It'd be nice if it were just a little bit smaller so it'd be a little more pocketable. But you could put it in a suit jacket pocket. You can put it in, I put it in my man purse. You can, and it's nice. The size is nice for reading, for doing,
I love that. I love that you can actually hold it for a long time without really getting tired. Because I had a regular size iPad, the 8th generation.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I don't do all the other productivity stuff that people do. I mostly use it as a tablet for watching. Consuming.
It's great for consuming. It isn't. Yeah, the Mini is too small to be a content creation device unless you've got very tiny fingers. But I would also suggest looking at getting the Apple Pencil with it. It supports this Apple Pencil, and you can use the Pencil to do a lot of things that the keyboard would do. For instance, if you're surfing, you could write in a phone number with the Pencil, and it has very good text recognition. They call it Scribble.
Right.
So it's kind of like the Newton was years ago. It is a largish tablet device that can be used for all kinds of communications. I wouldn't want to do a lot of email on it because the keyboard's just hard to use, but you can do it. You can do it. I'm very happy with it, frankly.
You reminded me, now that you mentioned the Newton, it reminded me of that Google tablet, the smaller, I think it was 7.5.
I loved that. I had several of them.
Why the hell did they discontinue that?
No one understands why Google does anything. They kill so many things. The 7-inch was great, and I had two of them.
I would have kept it.
Yeah, they all died on me. I used it all the time. That was exactly the right size. Now, I should mention, I don't think it's a good solution, but I should mention that Samsung and other companies are now doing these folding screens for that very reason. So the Samsung Galaxy Fold 3 opens up to a 7-inch tablet.
I know, but the fold idea, it just...
I'm with you, Noose. I have the Samsung Flip 3, which I like a lot, but I'm worried about that folding screen. And it's always got a little groove in it, and so it's just not aesthetically that pleasing.
I always say the fold will fold.
They tell me that every phone folds. It's the unfolding that can be hard.
Right, exactly.
So I love your idea of the Mini. I had the same thought when they announced it. I bought it. And while I have so many phones, I don't actually use it as a phone. I put Talkatone on it. You'll have to pay Talkatone, I think, $1.99 to get rid of the ads. I think another $3.99 for roaming text messages and a phone number. So it's about $5 a month. But I think it is going to be, it's a lot cheaper than a phone. And you get all the services of a cell phone connection plus a data connection.
The idea came to me mostly because I would love to have use the FaceTime with the kids.
It's great for FaceTime. It's a very good... They put a better camera on the front-facing camera than usual on an iPad for that very reason. It also does that zooming around thing. So as you move around, the camera follows you.
Yeah, I saw that.
I love it.
Fantastic.
I love it.
Well, I might just get it regular and see how I can just continue using Duo, which really works okay.
Yeah. For anybody who will use FaceTime or Duo, you can do video calls, and this is a really nice device for video calls. The back camera is not as good as an iPhone, but it's decent.
I'm not much of a photographer.
Yeah, if you don't care about that, in fact, really, that's what Apple these days, Apple sells the iPhone based on its photographic capabilities. So that's one of the reasons I didn't feel too compelled to buy a new iPhone. I think you're onto something. Yeah,
and I'm going to get the 64 gigabyte. What do you think? I mean,
that's plenty. That's plenty.
$150 for the 256, extra.
I bought the extra, but that's more if you want to put music, videos, and stuff on it. Nowadays, people stream, so you don't need the storage. So I think you're good.
And most of my photos are on Google anyway.
Yeah,
So,
you're streaming all your stuff. I think you might like it. I'm very happy with it.
very much,
Yeah,
for
it's
the
just you got to find a pocket big enough. If you wear a suit jacket, as I do, it's perfect. It fits right into it nicely.
No, I always have a man purse.
I have my man bag. It fits in my man bag too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a habit I acquired while living in Europe for a while.
You know what? I carry it without shame. I know people laugh at me. They say you're carrying a purse. I'm saying yes, and it's very convenient.
I tell them if you're confident in your masculinity, there is no issue whatsoever.
I get one that's very rugged and masculine looking, so it doesn't look too girly, but it's a purse. I'm sorry, it's a European carry-all. That's what it is. No, it's a pleasure talking to you. Great minds think alike.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We were talking about using the iPad mini as a phone because it's a 8-inch thing, and I just thought that kind of reminds me of how remember the Apple Newton? And I went and I look, and I have one in my museum behind me. I have a bookshelf full of old gear. The Newton message pad. The truth is, I think at the time we thought the message pad was quite big, and it's bulky because it had batteries in it, and it was. I should take the batteries out, shouldn't I? These are definitely corroding, but at the time it seemed big, but now if you compare this to the iPhone screen, it's actually smaller. So we've come a long way, baby, I guess is the point. And certainly if you get the iPhone screen, I think is 6.7 inches, something like that. If you get the 8-inch iPad mini, you're even bigger. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. Let's see who's next here. Who's been waiting the longest? Edward in San Jose. Hello, Edward.
Hello, Leo. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing better than good. Thank you.
Good. I like hearing that.
I am having issue with my iCloud logging in using my MacBook Pro.
Okay.
So here's all the troubleshooting that I have done. Is if I use iCloud.com, I can log in fine. AppleID.com,
okay.
I can log in fine.
Okay.
I have created a guest user on my computer. I can log in fine. I can use my son's computer, no problem. My son can use his login ID through my computer. His works fine.
Okay.
I have...
Sounds like it works.
Updated the password.
So what happens when you do it on your Mac?
It still doesn't let me through.
What does it say on your Mac? That it's a bad password? Or
no, it doesn't say anything. It just, that wheel just turns, and then it brings me back to login screen again.
Apple.
I spoke to 3-4 senior techs from Apple on the phone, and they have asked me to do this. I have asked me to do that. It doesn't work. So the issue seems to be iCloud and the App Store. And the music works fine. I can use my iPad login through that. Works fine. On my computer, if I log into the music, and they're all the same credentials, email and password, they're all the same. So the music works fine.
Have you? So a couple of questions. What version of macOS are you on?
It's the Big Sur 11.6.
Latest version. That's good.
And I've also erased that 11.6 and reinstalled 11.6.
Wow. And it still happens.
It still happens.
Oh, that's interesting. And I presume that you've tried signing out of your iCloud account and then signing in again.
Yeah, I've signed out. I've signed back in. I've changed the password. I signed out again. I signed back in again. Using the new password.
Now, you said you reinstalled Big Sur.
I have tried going into the safe mode, which I think bypasses all the third-party
That's one thing I would have suggested. When you reinstalled Big Sur, did you start from scratch, or did you have your existing apps and everything already installed?
The existing apps, they were all there. So
yeah, so that's what. So my suspicion is that you've got an app, possibly a security app, that's blocking it. Do you run any security software like Little Snitch, anything like that?
I don't, and I'm not very computer savvy, but the only thing I have is...
Do you have an antivirus on there?
Mail bites? No.
Malware bites, that's it. Take it off. Take it off. Any security software is... first of all, you don't need it. You're on a Mac, you don't need it. Apple does a lot to protect you against malware. Not perfect, but it does a lot. And I would almost bet you the house on malware bites being the problem. Any security software you have on there, you got to get rid of. You don't need it. This is my problem with security software. I am actually thrilled to recommend this next sponsor for the Tech Guy show. You hear on the show all the time people with low vision, people who are blind, people who have various disabilities calling and saying, help me. I can't use the internet. I can't use the web. It's criminal. I mean, actually, it's literally criminal. You can't go to jail, but you could definitely get sued thanks to the American for Disabilities Act, the ADA, which says, good news, that websites are public entities and have to be accessible. If you have a website, you have a responsibility. It's the right thing to do. It's also the legal thing to do to make your website accessible to people with different abilities. Fortunately, there's an easy, affordable way to do this. It's userway.org. So amazing and very inexpensive. UserWay uses AI to go through every bit of your website and automatically enforce the WCAG guidelines, WCAG. I talked to UserWay. They said, they actually call it WCAG. It's the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, published by the World Wide Web Consortium, W3C. And UserWay, by the way, makes it so easy. It's one line of JavaScript. You just put in your front page, you put in your code, put in every page, and it can do more than an entire team of developers. I understand. Look, I run a lot of websites. Making a website accessible is overwhelming. You want to do the right thing, but it's challenging, right? UserWay solutions make it easy. It's very simple to do. You don't have to be a web developer to do it. It's very cost effective. And incidentally, if you go to userway.org right now, actually do our URL, if you will, userway.org/twit, you can run a scanner and find out if your website's ADA compliant. You can see where the problems lie. If this reassures you, UserWay is used by some of the biggest companies in the world: Coca-Cola, Disney, eBay, FedEx. I can go on and on and on. That means it scales. They've got, all the horsepower to do it. It means their AI works. And it means these companies trust UserWay to keep them out of trouble and to do the right thing, to make their sites accessible. UserWay is now taking its best-in-class enterprise-level accessibility tools and making them available to everybody, small and medium businesses alike. Millions of people will require UserWay just to use your site. This is the thing to keep in mind. I mean, I could appeal to your fear of getting sued. Okay. I could appeal to your, doing the right thing. But even from a business point of view, why would you make a website that locks people out? Domino's Pizza got sued over this, by the way. Their answer was, and I know accessibility advocates will cringe when they hear this, but we have a phone number. We don't need to make our site accessible. We have a phone number. Well, I can tell you the Supreme Court said no. That's not good enough. That's separate but equal. You need to make your site accessible to everybody who wants to use it. UserWay does that. They make it easy. Let's just ask Siri what she thinks of UserWay.
Hi, I'm Susan Bennett, the original voice of Siri. You won't hear me say something like this too often. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're looking for.
No.
But every day, that's what the internet is like for millions of people with disabilities. UserWay fixes all of that with just one line of code.
That's the way to do it, let me tell you. I'll give you some examples. It automatically generates image alts. So, you're supposed to have alt tags for all your images, right? So that the screen reader says, oh, this is a picture of a Golden Gate Bridge. I love it, too, because it proposes this. And you can, if you want, you can go in and say, well, I'm going to say, UserWay will say, this is the Golden Gate Bridge. You could say, no, I want to point out it's a beautiful sunset over the Golden Gate Bridge over San Francisco. You can modify it, but it gives you the start. And it uses AI to do this. It's really kind of amazing. Another common problem, and by the way, This benefits all users. Nav menus, complex, difficult to understand. Screen readers can't go through them. UserWay makes sure that they're completely accessible. All pop-ups completely accessible. Vague link violations, fixed. Broken links, fixed. You have your Pantone palette for your colors, right, for your company. UserWay has a very clever way. Without changing the hue, it updates the saturation and luminance to make it easier for people to see. It makes your colors accessible while remaining true to your brand. And whenever you use UserWay, you'll get a detailed report of all of the things it fixed, all the violations it remediated. And it doesn't matter whether you're using WordPress or Shopify or Wix. It's easy to add UserWay, AEM, Sitecore, SharePoint, hand-coded sites, just a line of JavaScript. UserWay integrates seamlessly with it all. Let UserWay help your business meet its compliance goals, improve the experience for your users. It's the right thing to do. It's the best thing to do. UserWay can make any website fully accessible and ADA compliant. I'm so glad to be partnered with them. We had a great conversation. I talked a lot about my own issues as a web hosting guy, as a guy who puts up websites, and they really helped me. I think you're going to love it. Userway.org/twit. We've got a great deal, 30% off UserWay's AI-powered accessibility solution if you go to userway.org/twit. UserWay can make any website fully accessible and ADA compliant. With UserWay, everyone who visits your site can browse seamlessly and customize it to fit their needs. Don't you want that? Isn't that what you really want? It's a perfect way to showcase your brand's commitment to the millions of people with disabilities. AI-powered accessibility with UserWay. UserWay, making the internet accessible for everyone. UserWay.org, userway.org/twit. Please go to that address. You get your 30% off. It's a no-brainer. Userway.org/twit. Go there today. Thank you, UserWay, for supporting the Tech Guy Show. It's time for Photo Guy. Chris Marquardt bopping along to the music. Hello, Chris Marquardt. Good to see you. Welcome to the show.
Good to see you too. Hi there.
He's my photo sensei. In fact, you'll find him at sensei.photo, sensei.photo. And each week he joins us really with one purpose, one thing in mind, to get you out there taking pictures, whether it's with your smartphone or your fancy camera. But if you don't take pictures, you don't get better. What are we going to do
Or
today?
at least to get you thinking, about a few things, to give you some food for thought. And Leo, question to you. What is worse, overexposure or underexposure?
Well, I prefer to expose right to the clipping point of the brights. So underexposure is better.
You're supposed not to clip the brights.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the right answer. That's the correct answer, because what's up there in the bright areas of the picture, that's kind of the important stuff. What's in the middle is important stuff, but it is perfectly fine to really dip areas of your photo into black, into pitch black, to completely lose information.
I don't want to lose information in the bright stuff. I'm willing to lose information in the dark stuff. Yeah, that makes sense.
Think of clouds, the white parts of the clouds, the really bright parts of sunshine set. If those are overexposed, there's detail missing and your eyes want to see that detail. But let's just look at a few pictures that have real black, and let's talk a bit about the purpose of that. So if you have pictures with very hard contrast, then you look at the white parts of that and they still have a little bit of information, but then there's a black area somewhere in the background, and that there's nothing there. It's completely gone, but it doesn't really matter. And there's even a saying among professionals who work on photos where you change the contrast later on after you shot the photo, that a picture is only the right picture if it has at least one black pixel. So you want that.
I love it.
It's called the black point. It's the darkest part of a picture is called the black point. And if that sits well, then the whole photo kind of benefits from that.
Part of this is also an artifact of our own computer technology, because a lot of times there's information in the dark parts you can bring up. You control it. Once it's lost, it's lost. But you can stretch it a little bit if it's underexposed. It's hard. You can't do it if it's overexposed.
Right. So black things in photos work really well as long as you kind of get some, let's say, as long as they don't disappear into the background.
I like the kitty cat
example I'm
eyes.
showing here.
This is great.
And it's a black cat, but you only see the eyes because the rest of the cat and the background is all black, so it kind of disappears. So how do you bring something out that is black in the photo? And one way to do is put it in front of a brighter background. That gives you contrast, and the contrast helps to have that black cat in front of a brighter background to stick out. But that's not necessarily the only way to do it, because if you get the light just right, what we call hair light, you can have a black cat in front of a black background. If you have the light grazing it from behind, then you get the edges of it lit up, and that gives it some real good separation.
A silhouette of a cat, yeah. And what I love is the lights show. Go ahead.
Silhouette would be the cat in front of a brighter background. In this case, it's more the shape of a cat without too much information.
There's a halo around the cat, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I love that.
Another thing that black does in photos is it creates mystery, because it allows you to hide stuff in the photo. So in this case, I'm showing a black scene, and at night there's just a street lantern, and the street light lights a small patch and a little fence, and that's it. But that adds interest. That makes it interesting because you're hiding stuff, and it's easy to hide stuff in the dark. So black can be really useful for that. The problem often is that the cameras try to be smart and they start to brighten everything up. You know, the night mode in your smartphone, which brings out all
impossible.
the stuff in the dark.
You cannot take a dark picture anymore.
Well, you can if you use the features in your smartphone. There's next to the little square where you focus, there is a little sun icon, and if you pull that down, you can bring the dark back in these photos. So that works quite well.
That's actually a really good tip. You've mentioned before the exposure dial. To be able to push that.
Do that.
Yeah.
Use that.
Yeah.
Use that.
All
Yes,
cameras
it
have
helps.
that. Yeah. Which means you basically choose what point of the picture you want to see, the darkest or the brightest, and you can move it back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
And doing it this way, I mean, the phone is trying its best to bring everything out, but sometimes that is exactly not what you want.
It doesn't know what you want. You got to tell it. You got to take control. Camels in the sunset.
Right.
I love it.
On to the silhouette. The silhouette is like it's like something is cut out of black paper, and typically a silhouette is black in front of a brighter background. Again, the phone will probably try to bring that out, bring out what is black here in the photo. Again, it helps to just bring it down when you take the photo, or later in editing, you can turn on you can move the contrast slider, bring up the contrast, which makes everything that's dark in the photo already dark, makes it darker, and everything that's bright makes it brighter. So you can kind of artificially create that silhouette later on. Here's a nice thing you can do with a black background. There's a photo of a match. It's just been blown out, and it has this smoke. And if you manage to take a photo in front of a black background with a light source that does not light that black background, if you manage to light it from slightly behind, then you can get a real nice shape in front of the black background. Black can add a lot of mystery. What we're looking at here is, well, you could have framed this, so the person who took it, Claudia, she could have framed this photo in a very different way, but she decided to just have a sliver of a road that goes into the distance and add a lot of really black to the side. This gives us a bit of a bit of like a keyhole effect, like we're watching something through maybe a pair of binoculars or something. So again, it's being used to add some mystery. Here's a type of photo I really like, and that's, we call that low-key photography. And it means that whatever is in the photo is defined by just the light on it. So there's almost everything is black, and just a little bit of light gives us the context.
So or a keyboard or some stairs, or in a hand just slightly lit, so you can see that
just
object.
Slightly lit.
So it's interesting because I called it all a silhouette, but really there's the cat picture, which was haloed.
Yes.
There's the true silhouette, which you can't see what's cut out, and then there's this this low key, which is something highlighted with basically a black background. And you control all of that by the exposure dial.
Be careful printing these pictures. Lots of black means it consumes a lot of ink. But if you have an OLED display, they are very energy efficient because black pixels do not consume any power. So,
what it brings home to me looking at your images, and we'll put a link in the show notes to the Flickr gallery that Chris has put together. We'll also put it up in our chat room and so forth. But what it brings home to me is that photos are about emotion. And you control the emotion of the viewer by how you handle this. These photos definitely are emotional in a certain way because they're so shadowy and mysterious. I guess mysterious is a good word for this.
Yes.
Brings up a real emotion. I love that.
Don't be afraid of having a lot of black in your photo. Might come in handy.
It's okay to be mysterious.
Yes.
Now, there's no mystery about our assignment. Chris actually pulled it out of a fishbowl last week, and now I've forgotten what it was, but we have an assignment for you.
It's the happy assignment.
Happy! Oh! So take an image of something that illustrates the word, the idea happy, upload it to Flickr, tag it TG Happy, and submit it to our tech guy group. Chris will, in a couple of weeks, review some of them, give you all, there's no prize, just some attention. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Black, I see a red dress, and I want to paint it black. Love it. Love it. Really great stuff. It's a little challenging because we can't see the pictures. You got to really pretend that no one can see what you're showing. I don't know how to better do that, but you got to kind of, I don't know, maybe mention what it is or something. Because
that's true.
It's a radio show. Nobody's seeing these pictures.
I know.
Close your eyes when you do it.
Trust me, I understand. I understand. Just sometimes it takes over, and then
you're a visual artist. I understand. I mean, we're crazy trying to talk about photography on the radio.
Yeah, but I'm also a podcaster. I should be able to do this a bit better.
I'm sure you have the same issue with the podcast. It's just if you can just describe it a little bit, just so that we know what we.
I will. I will.
Hey, beautiful stuff. Some great. I mean, I wish everybody could see them, and certainly people who care about this show watch it.
Well, the majority is listening.
But radio is radio, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Have a wonderful week.
All right.
See you next week.
You too. See you next Sunday.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, the funky tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. John's on the line from Webster City, Iowa. Hello, John.
Hi, Leo. I'm a big fan of the show and long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yay.
Lots of shows. Security Now, This Week in Tech, Tech Guy, Windows Weekly.
All the podcasts.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Thank you. I'm very grateful. I appreciate it.
My question has to deal with Bluetooth. I got a pair of Skull Candy True Wireless earbuds, and they work great while I'm sitting at my desk, but as soon as I leave the house and walk with them, paired to my phone, which is in my hand, it's an iPhone XR, they'll start to cut out, and they don't disconnect. The sound, the program always thinks it's still playing, no matter what the program is, whether it's Pandora or it's Pocket Cast or anything like that. And
so it thinks you can hear it.
Yes, and
that's actually important information because sometimes Bluetooth headphones are designed so that they stop the programming, and that could be a spurious signal. But it's not doing that. It still thinks it's paired. It's still playing. It doesn't think it's lost the sound. You just don't hear it.
Yes, and I also bought another pair. I bought a pair of the Wise Buds Pro thinking, well, maybe it's just the Skull Candies, and I get the same issue with those.
How funny, because you wouldn't expect it to be any different outside than inside.
Yeah.
When you're inside, is the phone closer to them?
It's not much. It would be on a charger at my desk, within a couple feet.
But it has a direct view of your ear.
Right.
That's probably that's all I can think of is the difference.
Yeah, I'm usually holding it in my hand, so it's no more than a couple feet even.
It's not pure distance, though. It might be that your body is blocking the signal. Just as an experiment, hold the phone up, pointing at your ear, see if that fixes it.
Yeah, I've done that, and I've repaired them and everything else.
I hate Bluetooth, by the way. And it's, to me, the greatest indignity that Apple has foisted on its users, that they eliminated the headphone jack, and then worse, everybody else followed suit as if this was a good idea. Apple did it, I am convinced, to sell Bluetooth headphones, to make money. There's no excuse for it. They called it courage. They said, well, we have the courage to remove the headphone jack. It's not courage. It's greed, pure and simple. And now everybody's doing it, and it drives me nuts. And on things, Apple devices that have plenty of room, you know, the excuse was, well, we need every square inch of space. But on the iPads, which have plenty of room, there's still no headphone jack. There's no excuse. It's greed. So anyway, I'm sorry. You got me going on Bluetooth. I've found that Bluetooth is a very horrendously ineffective solution. It drops out for no apparent reason. Bluetooth earbuds have historically been problematic. Google's fought with this for years with their own pods. And I think part of the problem is the way they work generally is one ear pod is getting the Bluetooth signal and then passing the information through your head to the other one. This does not work very well.
Okay.
I don't know how the Skull Candies or the Wise work, but I suspect that is part of the issue. It's, you know, I don't know what the fix is. Google has, you know, done firmware updates again and again. They never fixed their original earbuds. I think the second generation, supposedly the latest generation is better. I don't know. There were all sorts of issues. I think it's just in the way, it's in the nature of Bluetooth. And I think Wise makes good products. I doubt Wise earbuds are any worse than Google's or Samsung's. The ones I've used, and I have not had these problems, are higher priced ones like Sennheiser, which makes an excellent pair of earbuds, but they're expensive. I think they're $150. Samsung, the Galaxy Buds are the best low-cost ones I've ever used. So, I mean, I don't want you to go out and buy more headphones just because, but, you know, Skull Candy's a low-cost leader. They're good, but maybe that's part of the problem. Wise, same thing. Mm-hmm. The Galaxy Buds are still pretty inexpensive. Samsung, I think, really sees them as almost an adjunct to their phone business. You don't have to have a Galaxy phone to use them. Well, they've gotten more expensive. They're $100 now. Just looking at the price, the original ones were less than that. I wonder if they still sell the original Galaxy Buds, because I loved those. The Pros, the 2 Plus, yeah, the $100 is the least expensive. How much were their Skull Candies?
I think they were about 40, and the Wise Buds Pro were around 70.
Yeah, I'm not saying there's a connection between quality and price, because there really isn't. Headphones. Another one I'll get me started on it are incredibly profitable because the parts are inexpensive, but you can charge a lot of money for headphones. So I think in a lot of cases these are overpriced. I don't know what to say. It's happened with 2 different brands. It's really interesting that it works at home and not while you're walking around. I think that has to do mostly with where the phone is. That's all I can think of.
Sure. Yeah, and it doesn't seem to matter if I can walk away in the house. I can walk away from my phone and be 20 feet away, and they still work fine. That's
ridiculous.
Yes.
All I can say is your body is from the point of view of any wireless device, a big bag of water. It is a cement wall. It doesn't work. You know, RF, radio frequency signals, do not go through the body well. Water is a problem. So anything you can do, maybe strap your phone to the side of your head. I don't know what the answer is. Honestly, because Bluetooth quality is lower because they're highly compressed, and because, in my opinion, the reliability is terrible. I have actually bought an adapter so I can have my wired headphones work with my phone. It's the only one thing that's reliable, and the quality is better by doing that. If you really care about quality, spend $120 on a DAC. My favorite is the hip DAC from ifi.com. And then you're going to take the digital signal from the phone and inside the DAC itself convert it to analog using better quality components, and its built-in headphone amplifier goes to wired headphones. You can get some really good headphones and have an amazing experience by doing that, and it never drops out. But I don't have an answer for you as to why. It's weird. It has to be your body. Maybe you have really moist palms. I don't know.
Something like that. I'm usually sweating more when I'm walking.
Yeah, you know what? Silly as that sound, it could be something that's silly. I just don't. But all I can say, maybe that'll make you feel better, is this has been a common problem with all of the earbuds. There's something about the way earbuds work. Now, there are other ways to do Bluetooth audio that I actually like a little bit better. Still Bluetooth, but doesn't have the same issues. A company called One More, number 1, M-O-R-E, makes, don't get the earbuds. They make ones that are wired into your ear, and then they have a thing that goes around your neck. And I actually think these sound very good and don't have the same problems because the transmitter is not in the earbuds, hidden in your ear, but it's around your neck where it's much more visible. And I think they do. The One More dual driver, for instance, very, very good. They're Bluetooth, $100 for the sale model right now, the One More dual driver Bluetooth. The microphone's closer to your mouth, so it sounds better. I would prefer this. So maybe if you're willing to spend a little bit, one more time, a little bit more, go to onemore.com. And I don't think earbuds, I think earbuds are the problem. I don't think anybody can make reliable earbuds. I don't know what it is about earbuds. They just don't work that well. Well, hey, how are you today? Hour 3 of the Tech Guy Show is underway. Leo Laporte here. This is the show where we talk about technology, computers, internet, home theater, digital photography. We even talk about space. Rod Pyle, spaceman, will join us later today. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. You're more than welcome to call. I love to hear from you with your problems, your suggestions, your questions. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. And, of course, you can call from anywhere in the world if you use Skype or something like that. Todd's on the line from Birmingham, Alabama. Hello, Todd.
Hello, Leo.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What can I do for you today, sir?
All right. You're going to have to really imagine what my problem is here.
I am good at that. I'm closing my eyes and pressing on my temples. Go ahead.
Perfect. I have a 18-foot wall that has bins of stickers on the wall.
Bins of stickers? You're in a sticker business?
Well, it's kind of an offshoot of a business, yeah.
Okay.
And then on the wall is like a library ladder, so it's on wheels.
So you can get to the stickers in any bin. How many bins of stickers are there on this 18-foot wall?
Right now, there are 688.
Holy cow!
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That's a lot of bins. Okay.
It's a lot of bins.
Yes.
The problem arises is our packing lists ship out, they print out on 4x6 labels.
Yes.
So one label, I'm looking at one now, it has about 9 different stickers on this one little packing list. The problem is when you're on a ladder, trying to hold on and read this packing list, I can't really do it. I guess I'm getting older.
Well, you don't want to fall off the ladder. That would be hazardous.
No, I'd be fired before I hit the ground anyway, is what I'm told.
Okay.
So
that's just mean. Okay.
Yes, it is. So I want a screen, a big screen that I can pull the orders up on, that can be on the ground or on another wall, that I can see from up here, and maybe be a touch screen. And the only thing we found is an Aquas board that's about $7,000.
Yeah, they're expensive if you want to go touch screen. So,
yeah, they're cool. I mean, we want to justify it, but I don't think we can justify it.
So you're satisfied that if you could get a screen that's 70 inches or whatever, you'd be able to see it, it would work fine. Why do you need touch? Because you're on the ladder.
Yeah, but if I have an order here, it's got 36 stickers.
Yeah.
It might be too much for the screen, so I'd have to scroll to see the rest of the screen.
Ah, okay. You go climb down the ladder, go over the screen, scroll it, climb up the ladder, go back. You know, it would almost be better if you had something in your pocket that you could scroll and the screen would reflect it, would show it, right?
Yeah, that'd be a lot better.
Yeah, because then you don't have to climb down.
Okay.
So what we really want is a pocketable device, or maybe even a device even with a clip that you clip on the ladder, climb up, you hook it on the ladder, and then you could scroll as you look at the order and scroll through the order, and it would show up. Then you could turn over, if you need to see it and you got your hand in a bin, you could turn around, and you could see that big screen, and you could see what you want to see, so know which stickers you're picking out.
That's why you're management right there.
Pete, there are companies that specialize. Well, enhance. We bring them in, these work consultants that will do this. What's your budget? Now, you said 7,000 is out of the question.
No, 7,000 is in the question, but you have to sell a lot of dollar stickers.
Yes.
To cover $7,000.
Yes, that's right. I mean, what's the profit in stickers? I mean, let's be honest here.
A lot. About 97 cents.
Oh, my God. So the sticker is $1, costs you 3 cents to make. Nice business. What are they stickers? What are they stickers of?
They're for bikers, so I really don't want to repeat what most of them say.
Okay. You put it on your motorcycle. It says "back off," something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here's one.
I know exactly what they say. I've seen them. Yeah. And we don't want to say that on the radio. Something about pulling my hair if you're going to get that close. That kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. I mean, the obvious thing is there are a lot of companies. Dell sells a 55-inch. I don't know. Is that big enough for you?
Yeah, that 55-inch would probably be great.
They sell a 55-inch touch monitor for $2,400, so that's a little less expensive.
But now you got me thinking that I want that little scrolly thing so I could just look down and scroll it. Would a mouse, would a computer with a...
Well, I'm thinking
be able to scroll that?
What you want is anything, maybe something like a tablet. Probably not Android, maybe a Windows tablet that supports a wireless display, which a lot do.
Okay.
So the display that's across the room from you is wireless, is reflecting what's on the big screen. Or you could even, if you're using Windows, have this display be a second screen. Your first screen is your order, and the second screen's displaying the stickers that you need from that order, which sounds like it would be a great combination. So I think... you might look at one of the smaller Microsoft Surfaces, the new Surfaces like the Surface Go that they just announced, which is as small as an iPad, it's a little tablet, but it's running Windows, which makes this easier. And then you can there are a large number of Windows wireless displays that you could run, so you wouldn't have to have it be wired. It would just reflect what you're seeing.
Yes.
Yeah. Microsoft actually makes a wireless display adapter which should work with any big screen. So that might even save you even more money because you get the Surface Go, the wireless display adapter, which plugs into your port on the TV. So you could even use a cheap TV. Amazon's making a 75-inch TV for $1,000 now. So that might be the right way to do this, is to have a device that can wirelessly send to your TV, and the TV is cheap. There's a little more expensive because now you're buying a tablet, but the Surface Go isn't that expensive. I'm
cheaper than $7,000.
Oh yeah, much and I think more flexible at this point. You've got a pretty flexible solution. Do you use Windows in your business anyway to keep track of orders and things like that?
Yeah, we use it. We use ShipStation. It pulls from all of our websites.
Perfect. So you've got ShipStation running on your Go. Yeah. Go starts at $400.
Oh, that's wonderful.
The Go is just a little touch screen tablet, basically running Windows 11 or Windows 10.
Okay.
Actually, the new one will be Windows 11. So you've got that. You've got you get a little case that has hooks on it. You hook on the ladder. So now you're looking at it. It's on the screen, you can scroll and do all this stuff with ShipStation, but behind you is a 70-inch television that is reflecting the same thing that's on the Go.
I knew you would know. But
does that sound like a good solution? And by the way, we put that all together. I think you're well under $2,000.
I think I am too. I think this is a great idea.
Yeah. And he won't fall off the ladder. And by the way, here's the chat room is really good at this kind of stuff. Bo from Alaska. Bo from Alaska says there's a site, ruggedtabletpc.com, that makes forklift-mounted tablets. I don't know if that's what you want, but
Well, I'll go look. Rugged tablet PC.
rugged tablet PC. I think all you need is a Surface Go. You don't need a lot of horsepower. ShipStation is just running in the browser, so you don't need a lot of horsepower. You just need basically a browser in a little tablet, and you can hook it onto the ladder, and then now you have both, kind of the best of both worlds. And that might even be helpful for the rest of the people in the warehouse. So their motorcycle. What's the website so I can buy my motorcycle a sticker?
Leo, after that last commercial you did with the
accessibility,
I am never saying my website right. not a chance after that commercial.
Yeah, it's a sponsor we have for the podcast called UserWay, and it's really the case that if you have a website, it's just out of the box going to be horribly inaccessible, and you're liable. You're liable for that.
We've thought about that as a problem before, and we don't know if we've done anything yet, to be quite honest.
So UserWay is $40 for a small business like yours. I think it depends on how much traffic. $49 a month.
Oh, well worth it.
Don't you think?
Well, yeah, well worth a lot better than another lawsuit. Yeah,
exactly. And I know the lawsuits are a thing that stimulate people to become accessible. That's why the ADA exists. But it's also just you want more. I mean, I guess most motorcycle riders are not blind, but you want more people to use your site. You want to make it easy for somebody to use. It's part of making it easier for somebody to use. That's the point.
They might not be blind, but a lot of them have a limp.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things Microsoft said when they announced the Surface Go and all their other new Surface computers, they had a disability advocate on along with their head of accessibility, who's really great. And he said, look, we're all going to be disabled at some point. Some of us are there sooner than others. But at some point, we're all going to need some help. That's something to keep in mind, right? It's not them, it's us. Thank you, Todd. I think we've solved the case of the motorcycle sticker bins. 600 motorcycles, stickers. I wish he'd give us the site, though. I really want to know where I can buy my motorcycle stuff. Put it on my car. Okay, all right. Let's get serious, Leo. We've got a job to do. So what's the address of the site? I got to go, Todd. I got to go.
Okay, I'm off the air.
Yeah, well, you're on the podcast, but
okay.
That's okay. They're very kind people.
Oh, it's okay. Iron Horse. Well, it's got some offensive stuff on it, but it's ironhorsehelmets.com.
Ironhorsehelmets.com.
Yeah.
Of course, it's got offensive stuff. What? What's dads against daughters dating Democrats? Dad, DADDD. This is the very first thing that came up. Dads against daughters dating Democrats. I love it.
Yeah. And Leo, this used to be a great big company. It's not like it used to be. I mean, we used to do $3 million a year in just helmets.
Oh, look, you've got the kind of the German motorcycle helmets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, these are awesome. Yeah. What happened?
Yeah. Half of it might have been poor management. We kind of had the attitude like the customer was not.
Oh, this is where you get the purple Mohawk motorcycle helmet. I've seen people wear these.
Leo, funny story on that. This guy, around 2001, when we were invading Afghanistan and Iraq, this guy from England who was the inventor of this called me. Hold on, let me turn off this t-shirt printer. I apologize. The inventor called me from England, asked me to carry these. And I said, no. And he said, if they don't sell, I'll buy them all back. And I kind of felt like this patriotic thing to help this guy who's helping my country. We ordered them, and they sold out. We couldn't keep these.
He knew.
Yeah, now we might sell 2 a week, but we used to sell 2 a minute.
This is the one I want. I want mammal. I want to be mammal as I ride down the road.
Oh, yeah.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
These are great. So is this your business, or is it you just work for them?
No, it's my business.
So what? It's not your. So did you? When you said poor management, did you screw up or what?
No, I am poor management.
I like your sense of humor, dude.
I made some mistakes with this. No.
I want to plug this on the air. I think this is great.
No, I don't. With all my sensitive stuff, I don't want the social justice.
I understand. With the stuff you've got on here, I understand. I think it's just funny. It's sense of humor funny. I don't.
Right. But I'm
a Democrat. I don't care if somebody rides up with a dad sticker.
We have Democrat stuff too. Yeah, but I'd say 90% of our customers are not Democrats.
Well, you're in Alabama. Let's face it.
Oh, we sell worldwide.
So
speaking of Alabama,
yeah,
about 10 years ago,
I was in Birmingham.
You mentioned James Spann, and
yes,
man, after the tornadoes came,
yes,
I emailed him about
the great weatherman. Oh no, we're friends.
Yeah, he said you were. He said you are, and you're an exaggerator. He's not that great of a weatherman.
No one is. He's as good as they come. Hey, I got to run. It's great to talk to you, Todd.
All right. Thank you, Leo.
IronHorseHelmets.com. I won't say it on the air.
Thank you.
The Tech Guy Podcast brought to you this week by Simply Safe. Oh, we've got some exciting news from my favorite home security company, Simply Safe. Just launched a new product, the wireless outdoor security camera. This is exciting. This is actually great news. For me, that outdoor camera system means I know if there's anyone walking around in the neighborhood, if there's anything going on, if there's a raccoon in my trash. I just like to be able to monitor my perimeter, and Simply Safe now makes it easy. Simply Safe is a system U.S. News and World Report names Best Home Security System of 2021. I could have told them that. And now it's even better. This brand new outdoor security camera is engineered with all the advanced tech and security features you want to, of course, help keep you and your family safe from bad guys and critters like raccoons. It has an ultra-wide 140-degree field of view, which is great. So one camera placed, in the corner there gets your whole backyard. It's very nice, high-resolution, 1080p HD. It's got zoom built in, 8x zoom. So it's very often, I'll hear something, get the alert from Simply Safe, and I'll want to zoom in. I'll say, who is that? And you can see things like, I'll give you a really good example, not just faces, but license plates. Somebody ran over our mailbox a while ago. And the ability to zoom in and see who it is, that's really nice. Built-in spotlight. It's got night vision, but better night vision than the other guys because it's color night vision. You can see what's going on, whether it's broad daylight or the middle of the night. Of course, the bad stuff usually happens in the middle of the night. Very easy to set up. Just take a couple of minutes. And I said wireless, right? Because it's so you don't have to figure out how to get a cable out to it. It's got an easy-to-remove rechargeable battery. Doesn't need an outlet. Can go anywhere. You can put it out, on the back 40 on the fence or whatever. And, of course, it integrates with Simply Safe's great, brilliant home security system. So now Simply Safe protects the indoors and the outdoors. Together, it means every door, every window, every room is protected, and your property too. And honestly, that footage, having that video of somebody approaching, getting ready to break in, is worth its weight in gold. It's a big addition. I'm very excited. And they're celebrating. To learn more about the exciting new Simply Safe wireless outdoor security camera, go to simplysafe.com/twit. They're celebrating this new camera by offering 20% off, not just the camera. This is great. Your entire new system. Plus, when you enroll in interactive monitoring, Simply Safe has always had the best, most affordable interactive monitoring. You'll get your first month free. Yeah, 20% off your whole system and your first month free of monitoring. Now you got to do this. What have you been putting it off for? simplysafe.com/twit. It's home security done right. I love these guys. simplysafe.com/twit. We thank them so much for supporting the Tech Guy Show. You're supporting us when you go to that address, by the way, so they know you saw it here. simplysafe.com/twit. Now, back to the Tech Guy. Leo Laporte. I love this song. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888 Ask Leo. The phone number. It's your last half hour to call and talk to Heather Hammond. H-Bomb is manning the phones. It's been so nice to have you. Don't be a stranger, Heather. You're just great, and we miss having you here. She's filling in for the wonderful Kim Schaffer, and Heather's been with the show since its beginning. So it's nice to see you. Now that you're a big star in KGO, you don't mind slumming a little bit, coming down, helping us out. So thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Last chance, 88. Say hi to Heather. 8888. Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go, and on the line right now, Jeff in New York, the Big Apple. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, how you doing today, Leo?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good. Frequent caller. Love the show.
I know, and it's good to hear from you.
Thank you. So you'd help me again. I keep bringing it up for an outdoor TV cover, so that's been working well.
Good.
And now that winter's on its way, the problem is we have got a gift because it's still COVID. We got a hot tub installed. So
that's a nice thing to have. If you can't go out, and enjoy life, if you got to stay home, at least have a hot tub.
Oh, absolutely. So here's my problem. With the TV's Bluetooth, it came with it built in, but we can't hear the TV over the jets. I know what real problem I have.
You can't. You know what? I have a hot tub too. You can't hear anything over the jets. That's part of the benefit of the jets. Honey, can you do the dishes? What? I'm in the hot tub. What? Go ahead.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, but again, with the Bluetooth TV that we got a Toshiba with the built-in Fire Stick built in, so it wouldn't freeze or anything. So,
nice.
But it's really clear. It's a nice picture, but it's kind of hard to watch something and really. I mean, we don't really watch movies.
Yeah.
But
and you get all pruny if you watch a whole movie in the hot tub. That's probably not a good idea.
So I was calling. You're right about that. So I was calling it. You had any advice on a speaker?
Headphones. Headphones.
Oh, that's a good idea. Wireless.
There are waterproof headphones. There are quite a few of them because people like to wear them swimming. You know what I probably would recommend is the Aftershocks. They're Bluetooth, and they're kind of weird. They're bone conductant, so they don't go in your ear. They go kind of on your temple. Believe it or not, they sound great, and you'd be able to hear quite clearly, but you'd also be able to hear conversation. So, in other words, they're good for if you're a runner and you want to wear headphones, but you don't want to get run over. It's kind of a clever idea. So Aftershocks, AFTERSHOKZ.com is, I use them. I like them. They're very comfortable. They're waterproof. Or maybe not all of them, but they certainly have waterproof models because swimmers wear them, and they'd be perfect for this.
Okay. And do you have a suggestion?
Speakers, there's lots of choices. There are also waterproof speakers. Ultimate Ears, UE.com, makes some very nice Bluetooth speakers that are waterproof and sound good. They have a nice bass to them. I think the Boom or the Mega Boom, or maybe the Wonder Boom, one of those. But make sure you check because not all of these things are waterproof. But they're designed to take down to the beach and stuff like that. You're not going to put them in the water, but they get splashed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
On the like a little table outside or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I also have Sonos Moves, which are not waterproof, but if they're distant enough, do you have if you're a Sonos person?
I have Sonos.
Okay. Yeah. Take a look at the Moves. Those are our outdoor speakers. They're battery powered. They sit on a little charger. When you're not using them, they're charging up. But then they have a little handle on the back. You pick them up and bring them out to the hot tub, and they get very loud. They're very good. They're Sonos. You can have two if you want stereo or just one. Do you use Sonos on your TV though?
No, I was because I want to make sure they were aptX compatible. I didn't want to the.
Okay, yeah, aptX. Yeah, so these are not. These are Sonos. So if you had a Sonos soundbar on your TV, actually, I think I'm trying to remember. The soundbar works with the Moves, but I don't know if
the water resistant.
They're not outdoor. They're not outdoor speakers. So take a look. I think any of the Bluetooth and UE makes excellent ones. I think they're really good. Ultimate Ears is their former name, UE.com, and the Boom. Okay. We use the Moves out on the patio, because we'll pick them up. They're charged. We're already playing through Sonos, but not for the TV so much, just as for music on the patio.
Right. Well, yeah, I think I remember UE was also AudioVox back in the day too. I think.
Yeah, they all got bought up one by one. I think I think Cambridge Soundworks or somebody owns them. I can't remember who owns them now, but they're very good. I have a pair of them. They're waterproof. The sound quality is excellent, and they're battery powered. They're portable, so you just take them out. Enjoy the.
All right, I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Enjoy your life. Are you in Manhattan with a hot tub?
No, the suburb.
Okay. Because I'm imagining a penthouse roof apartment. You're looking over the city. You're enjoying your music, your TV. You're getting all pruny, that kind of thing.
No, I wish.
Aftershocks are a good choice if you want to be mobile and move around too. But anything waterproof, yeah, you're not going to go under. You could with the aftershocks because swimmers wear them, but it's just because they're getting splashed. I understand. I like the UE line. Jeff, always a pleasure. Thank you for calling. 8888 Ask Leo. Guess who's next? Our space guy, Rod Pyle. You stay here. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He's burning up out there, all his fuel out there alone. Mr. Rocket Man himself, Rod Pyle, author of Space 2.0, First on the Moon, editor-in-chief of Ad Astra magazine of the National Space Society. He is an expert in outer space, and he's here to join us. It looks like you're, are you orbiting Mars?
Absolutely, because where else would I rather be?
Yeah.
None of that suborbital stuff for me, mister.
Not a good place to raise a kid. I hear it's cold as heck, but you know.
But if you're upset at them, it doesn't take long for them to learn the error of their ways when you put them outside.
No.
Yeah,
Daddy, don't put me outside again. So
Yes.
We'll all be living in lava tubes. It's going to be okay. What do you want to talk about this week?
Well, you brought up lava tubes. Interesting you did that. So, new mission called Bepi Colombo just did its first pass past Mercury.
I think that's an Italian restaurant downtown, actually.
Yeah, I know. It sounded like a dish when I first heard it.
Bepi Colombo. Is this an Italian mission or is it a U.S. mission?
It's a combination of the European Space Agency and the Japanese Space Agency who didn't get their druthers in the name, I suppose. But what's kind of interesting about this, so this is just the first swing by the planet. It's not actually it's got to do 5 more. And this is its way of gravitationally slowing down to get orbit around Mercury. But Mercury, as it turns out, we don't think about it a lot. If Venus is the trailer park of the solar system, Mercury is kind of the forgotten ginger stepchild,
Yeah.
Because, most people think, well, so what? It's 350 degrees on the surface, on the sunny side, and it's just a big rock. Who cares? But it's actually the least explored of the terrestrial planets. We've only gone there twice. We had Mariner 10 in the 70s and one called Messenger in 2011.
Is that because it's hard?
Yeah, it actually takes more energy and more control to reach Mercury than it does to reach Pluto. Because it's so close to the sun, you got to do all these multiple passes past Earth and past Venus to use gravitational assist to control the spacecraft. And then you've got to go in these big lopsided orbits around Mercury to eventually circularize to get around the planet. But it's a more interesting place than you might think. And the reason I brought up the lava tube connection is we actually think we see lava tubes on Mercury. And where there's lava tubes, there's chance for habitation. Now, that sounds a little weird because it's like right in the sun's back pocket, right? It's got a very short orbit and it rotates very slowly. But the thought is that you could, down inside a lava tube, because rock is such a good insulator, especially on that planet, because there's very little atmosphere, that you could have habitations there, and that in some ways it would be easier and better than Mars to do so.
Wow.
Not ready myself. I'm not convinced. I think this might be a real estate swindle, but we'll see.
It looks like I'm seeing the first pictures from Bepi Colombo, and it looks like the moon.
It does. Very much like the moon. But it's actually kind of a weirdo planet. So the spacecraft, Bepi Colombo's in 2 sections. There's a planetary orbiter that'll look at the planet's environment and space in general, and it's very, very tenuous atmosphere. It's tiny. And then there's a magnetospheric orbiter, and generally magnetic instruments you like to have either separated with booms or off by themselves. In this case, it'll be separate, which will be mapping the magnetic field. Mercury is the only terrestrial planet besides the Earth that actually has one. Mars and Venus don't, so we think that's kind of weird.
What is the atmosphere, though, of this planet?
Oh, it's like plasma.
Nothing you'd want to breathe.
Gas. No.
Yeah.
It's an exosphere. It's really not even an atmosphere. But there is something there. They want to know where it comes from. They want to know why Mercury is so much denser than the other terrestrial planets. It's got a lot more density in it. They want to know if the core is liquid or solid. And here's what's weird, and look for tectonic activity. Mercury is 85% core. Earth is 15% core.
Wow.
So, why is this stuff? So as it turns out, my next book, it took me about 2 years to figure out what to write about. And I think I'm going to write about planetary evolution because it's very interesting, especially with the rocky planets.
Yeah.
You start comparing them to each other. And not only do you learn a lot about how we got here, but you start learning about where we may be going, and that feeds into climate change. So it's a really big conversation. Anyway, last thing, they want to know if there's volatiles on the surface, meaning water ice and hydrocarbons and things like that, because Mercury doesn't have much tilt on its axis, right? It's almost completely vertical. So we think the top regions of the North and South Pole might be permanently cold, and there could be some interesting stuff there we could use.
Isn't there of late some new theories about planetary formation that kind of throw out everything we thought, and a lot of collisions of the planets to form the planets?
I think we were talking about that last week. There are, and it doesn't throw everything out. It just kind of modifies it, and it's more like a game of snooker than a polite game of pool.
You could see why you'd want to know this stuff, though, because this tells us a lot about how the Earth came to be. And it's interesting, we've ignored Mercury. So 9 flybys with Buca di Beppo. He's going to go by 9 times.
Well, he's going to fly by 6, then orbit.
Oh, they're actually going into orbit. All right.
Yeah, yeah.
They arrive in December 2025. So at that point they're going to orbit, and they'll just continue to orbit for a while.
Yeah, for I think what's the primary mission? 4 or 5 years.
So they're Venus. They're also going by Venus on the way.
We're sending 2 to Venus, including a hard lander and atmospheric probes.
Oh, okay.
And I was just doing some writing on, what was it? It was another Venus lander. Oh, it was a way to harden circuitry and solar panels about to be down the surface. Because Venus, Mercury's hot at 350-something degrees, but Mercury is up there, that's Mercury. Venus is up there at 900 plus Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
So you got to start getting it. You get into some really weird designs for landers and rovers. And in fact, they've got a rover, which I may have discussed before, that's going to be driven, they think, by a wind turbine and a spring. It's like a clockwork rover. And because it's so hot down there, if you want something to last long enough to drive around, you really can't have much in the way of electronics. So they're actually considering a visual signaling system that would have little mirrors that would flip back and forth to send signals up to orbit.
Wow.
At a bit rate of 2 or 3 bits of data per minute or something. Wow. It's basically Morse code.
Yeah.
Right?
Fascinating.
So this is taken binary way back to its origins. It's like telegraphing into orbit. But it's an incredibly resourcely thing that they're doing.
I'm glad we're exploring these relatively nearby planets that we need to. It teaches us so much about how we got here and how the planet was formed, and we learn about the Earth from looking at these planets.
We do. And we may learn how to save our own skins if we're particularly resourceful.
I think it's more useful for that than saying we're going to move there. I don't, 350 degrees, that's pretty hot for summer. I don't know. I don't know if we.
It may not be for long the way things are going.
Do they have? Is there a cold side on Mercury? The dark side of the moon, or
it's a really slow rotation relative to the sun. So I think the day-night cycle is 168 days, something like that.
So it's a very long summer. Yeah.
So it's a very slow-moving Terminator. I mean, you could stroll and keep up with
wow, interesting,
with the movement of the light across the planet. Yeah. You can actually crawl on your hands and knees.
Is it cold when the sun is not out? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So see,
because there's no atmospheric.
Right.
There's no atmosphere to mix the temperature around the planet. So when you're on the night side, it gets cold right now, just like the moon.
Yeah.
So the moon could get down to minus 250, but on the sunny side, it can get up to about that far above 0 Fahrenheit.
Wow.
So it's weird. It's not what you think it's going to be like on these places. It's either real hot or real cold.
Are there lava tubes on Venus?
Don't know.
We don't
don't see any indication of it, but they've only mapped the surface back in I think it was the 70s, 70s or 80s. And it's not well researched yet, so we really got to learn more about it.
I love this idea of living in the lava tubes. There's actually a whole article about, or whole issue about this in Ad Astra. If you're a subscriber to the National Space Society's official journal.
And that was an interesting one because we were a little contrary, but we'll discuss that another time.
I love it. Space.nss.org, the Living in Space issue. Thank you, Rod Pyle.
Thank you, sir.
Spaceman. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Mars has Moxie.
That guy was such a treat to talk to. I met him at JPL on some assignment I was on up there, and he said, "Hey, you want to come see the lab?" And I went, "Yeah."
Nice.
So he took me all around and showed me his little devices and contraptions and stuff. It was really fun.
It's cool that you get to do this. It's really cool. You know?
It's interesting because it's cool and it's unbelievably humbling at the same time because you're around people with brains that, at least in my case, make me feel like a poodle. You know?
Yeah. But not only are they smart, but then you also learn that we're just on a little rock floating around in a giant space, and it just doesn't seem.
Well, that and that there are people that think on this whole other plane that to them is just day-to-day discussion.
Yeah.
It was like I was working at Caltech. We'd go to lunch, and you'd be sitting a couple booths away from these 3 Nobel laureates that are sitting chatting to each other, and it's like they're making jokes in numbers, you know. So the last guy will say punchlines like 5. You're going, I don't get it.
Don't forget the Oilers constant.
Yeah.
So
it's really bizarre.
Excellent picture, excellent sound. Thank you for making that effort, man. It looks great. It's fantastic, actually. I really love it.
Next week I'll get the Shure mic out. And then
this sounds fine. This is fine, but whatever you want.
I spent a bunch of money on that dumb thing.
I'm so sorry. Send us a bill. Send us a bill.
I'm not supposed to send you bills.
You can send us a bill.
I heard about what your last year was like.
It wasn't that bad. We don't pay you. We should help you out at least with the technology. There's no reason you should spend no money on doing this show. We'd be glad to just send us a expense form. We'll gladly
Would you be surprised to hear you're the first person on radio that's ever said anything even vaguely like that?
Bill Handel never said that, did he?
No, he said a lot of things, but he didn't say that. But at least he didn't say send me a check either, so there's something to be said for that.
No, you don't have to pay us to be on, for sure. Yeah. We should be paying you to be on. We'll talk about that, and certainly we want to absorb any costs that you have as a result.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I sent Bill my last Tribble from Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I know.
Did he appreciate it?
Tell me what. He did. He made a big deal about it on Twitter the next day and then completely forgot about it. But hey,
Do you still do the show?
Off and on. I've been doing it about every 3 to 6 weeks, and then he was off for a while, and then when he came back, I didn't get back on for a while. But now I've been going back on. When Wayne was up, he had me on.
Wayne likes me too. I don't know what happened. Bill used to love me. I don't think it's Bill. I think he got a new producer, and I think the last thing she said was, "Call me if you ever want to be on." And it's like, okay, fine.
Excuse me.
Okay, fine.
I have an international show with 60 million downloads a year.
Well, so does Bill. Bill's a big shot. In fact, I think Bill pulled some strings to get me. Well, I'm friends with Robin too, but I think Bill was always very supportive, so I owe him. But if he doesn't care if I show up, I'm not getting up in the morning. I don't mind sleeping.
Well, honestly, I think the election at least in my case, I think the election of Trump to the presidency and then especially COVID just knocked everything sideways.
Yeah, everything's different.
Bringing in soft news segments.
Yeah. I can't, I can listen online. I should listen online to hear what he's doing because maybe it's a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They want to do hard news now. I don't blame them. There's lots of news.
Yeah. And yet he came back from this last heart surgery and he was downright chipper.
Good. When was that?
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that.
Monday. So I think,
oh my God.
He must be doing much better.
What kind of surgery?
He had to have a valve replacement.
Oh my God.
And he was out about a month before that. He was out for almost 6 weeks or maybe longer.
Oh, I had no idea.
Back surgery.
I got to drop him a note.
He's been through a lot.
Oh, I had no idea.
So no matter how big and how nice your house is, it's a drag to be recuperating from surgery.
Radio people die young. There's something about radio. It's bad for the health. I really swear to God. It's terrible for you. Maybe you're doing a lot of sitting. I don't know what it is.
Nervous energy?
Maybe. See you, Rod.
Okay. Take care.
Thank you for letting me be your tech guy. I appreciate it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Every weekend we get here and we talk about all sorts of technical stuff, and I hope you like the show. I appreciate your listening. Thanks so much to Professor Laura, our musical director. She does such a good job of keeping all the things flowing and musically going. Thanks to Heather Hammond, who filled in this week for Kim Schaffer. Kim will be back next week, but it's great to see you again, Heather. Thanks, of course, mostly to all of you who listen. We really appreciate it. It's nice, to get to do a job that you enjoy. And, it's not really work. It's just fun. I really appreciate it. Couldn't do it if you didn't listen, so thank you. Victor, next on the phone from Columbia, South Carolina. Hello, Victor.
Hello, Leo. It's great to talk to you again.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I have called twice before. One time you could help me, one time you could not. So this is the tiebreaker.
I'm 1 for 1. All right, 1 for 2. What do we got here?
1 for 2. Yeah. Okay, I bought a OnePlus 8 Pro I bought it used from Swappa. It was the model. I can't think of the model now. It's 2025, IN 2025.
Yep.
It was everything that the seller is, has 1,700 sales and 100% ratings.
Okay.
The phone was listed as unlocked. I was looking for an unlocked phone, and the phone is unlocked. But the way it was unlocked was by unlocking the bootloader.
There you go, Volt.
I'm already not feeling good.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, I thought it was unlocked from the factory. I shouldn't have made that assumption.
No. So Swappa, I should explain what Swappa is. Swappa is a company that people go to with their used devices. When you want to get the OnePlus 9, you sell your OnePlus 8 to Swappa, and they give you money, and then they go on and resell it. So Swappa is well rated. That doesn't mean the person who owns it well rated. And one of the things Swappa, like all of these companies do, is require that you as the owner unlock the phone before you send it on to them. It sounds like Swappa doesn't care or doesn't have the capability of learning how it's been unlocked, whether it was unlocked officially or in this case, and it may be the only way to unlock a OnePlus 8, I don't know, but in this case was unlocked using software to unlock the bootloader. That's not necessarily a problem. What it means is, in some ways, I think there are some Android people who say, oh, that's better, because you don't have to use OnePlus's Android. You could use another Android image on top of this, that kind of thing.
Except that I've been a OnePlus user since OnePlus 1.
You like the OnePlus One UI, yeah.
I'm crazy about the One.
No, I think they do a great job. So do you not have the One UI on it?
No. Here's the problem. It won't take Google Pay.
Yes, that's right.
Problem I have.
Yeah, that's right. Because Google wants it to be secure. And so as soon as the bootloader gets unlocked, Google Pay says, well, you could have any kind of software running on there that might steal your credit cards. We don't know. So it's not certified secure. I wonder if there's a way to set it up. So when they unlocked the bootloader, they didn't take off the OnePlus UI.
No.
It's still got the OnePlus firmware. So when you unlock the bootloader, it means you can put any firmware on there you want. But the guy didn't take off the firmware. Maybe when he used it, he was using it with some other firmware that he preferred and put OnePlus's firmware back on before he sold it. That's probably what happened.
But Leo, let me say this one more time. This seller has 1,700 sales.
That's Swappa. That's Swappa, not the guy who owned it.
No. The market seller. The seller.
Oh, okay. He sold it direct to you. Okay.
Correct. Through Swappa.
So I'm wondering if there's a way that you can recertify this.
So that's the first thing I was wondering. But I wonder. So it was it couldn't be T-Mobile, because they don't sell this particular model. This is the higher end model. T-Mobile didn't sell it.
Yeah.
Verizon did, and maybe AT&T. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But let's just say, for a hypothetical, it's from Verizon. If I relock it and it goes back to Verizon, then how do I? Then I don't have I have a Google Fi SIM in it. So what do I do? Do I have to buy a Verizon account so that I can unlock it through Verizon?
No. I think it's probably too late on this point. You are unlocked. It's not tied to any carrier at this point. Does it still show Verizon logos on it?
No, nothing. No.
Yeah, you're unlocked. Nothing. Verizon, from Verizon's point of view, that phone is out of their database. So, unfortunately, I think what you're going to have to do is go beyond the unlocked bootloader to root the phone. And then I think you can, once you root it, I think you can make it work so that you can use Google Pay again. Here's what I would suggest. XDA-developers.com. which is the site for people who like to root and unlock Android devices. It's incredible. It's a big forum.
I know of them. Years ago, yeah.
If you search for your model number, not merely the one, the one you gave me at the end, the IM6432, whatever the model number is, you will find a thread on that model number on rooting it, on unlocking it. I would search that thread for you on how to use Google Pay. And there will be in there a step-by-step to make it work. You can make it work, but I think you have to fully root it in order to do that. In other words...
that was an assumption on my part. I thought if it was unlocked, it had been rooted.
No. I mean, you understand the concept of carrier unlock. Carriers, when they sell phones, like Verizon sells a phone, they want your 2 years of membership, and they're going to keep that phone locked. Actually, Verizon unlocks it now because they lost a battle with the FTC, but that's...
I think 6 months or something.
Yeah, I don't want to complicate it, but yeah, they have to unlock it after 6 months.
Right.
So... a carrier unlock merely says, I release this phone, you can use anybody's SIM in it. But there are further steps you can go. You can to further unlock it, like rooting it and unlocking the bootloader. Once the bootloader is unlocked, then you can put any bootloader on there, which means you can put any image on there. But it'll need to be fully rooted before you can kind of restore it to its pristine state. I don't know, and this all has to do with OnePlus and what other protections they put in. For instance, Samsung really doesn't like you rooting their phones, so they have protections to prevent that. I don't know what OnePlus used to be completely open. I seem to remember reading that they got a lot more locked down as time went by, but I'm not sure. So is your only issue that you want to use Google Pay, or
that's my only issue? What I read was that they won't work with banking apps, but I used 2 other banking apps without incident.
Yeah, it just depends. They don't. Again, this all comes down to the fact they don't want you to be using a kind of a pirate device, because the security comes from the manufacturer. But I think you're fine. You don't have to worry about security. You just want to reassure these programs. If it's rooted, it sounds like it might be rooted. Rooted often tells these banking companies, yeah, it's a rooted phone. I'm not going to use this. And Google Pay might do the same thing. And as far as using Google Fi, shouldn't be a problem. You just get a Google Fi SIM, put it in.
No, I have it.
Oh, you're already doing that. Okay.
Yeah, and I have, because it's a dual SIM, so I have a Freedom Mobile from Canada on the other.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
I love this phone. It's the phone, except for...
This is probably best handled by going to XDA developers. You could ask the question, but generally the way these forums work, they're kind of snarky. Make sure you search first. I bet you somebody's already asked this question. It's already been asked and answered. XDA-developers.com. It's all very specific to the model of the phone. That's why I can't give you for sure reassurance, but it's my sense that you will be able to, with some steps, with some work, make that bankable and Google Payable. That's it for me, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'll be back next week. I hope you will too. Have a great geek week. Bye-bye. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.